You Are Not Broken, a holistic guide for men and women to heal the pathways of sexual dysfunction and restore relational harmony together. By Brooke Hazen, Goldridge Press. I'm Brooke Hazen. Medical disclaimer. The information in this book is intended to provide helpful information on the subjects discussed. This book should not be used to diagnose or treat any medical condition. For diagnosis or treatment of any medical problem, consult your own physician. The author and publisher are not responsible for any specific health needs, which may require medical supervision, and are not liable for any damages or negative consequences from any treatment, action, application, or preparation to any person reading or following the information in this book. This book is dedicated to God. The first love of my heart, the first ambition of my soul, the first goal of my will and reason is God alone. Paramahansa Yogananda. Safe Journey Prayer. Take my hand, my child, and come with me. Do not be afraid as we courageously embark on this beautiful journey of healing and transformation towards the vibrant, sun-drenched horizon which lies ahead. Leave behind the baggage which no longer serves your sole goal. Shed the armor of your fear, the pressure of others, and the unhealthy myths and habits which have kept you in bondage and weighted down. It is time to fly free to new heights unimaginable, to jewel-encrusted flowers dripping with the nectar of limitless possibilities and intoxicating fragrances wafting with transformative powers. The time has come, my child, for our journey to begin. I will be with thee, holding your hand, guiding thee, lifting your soul up, and carrying you in my loving arms. You shall never need to have fear, for I am your coach, your guide, your friend, your lover, your mother. I am the lighthouse showing you the way. All you seek I shall provide for you. Simply peer deep into your heart and focus on my light within you. Talk with me, love with me, walk with me, and transform with me into the child I meant for you to be. Chapter 1. Heal the entire body, mind, and soul. Chi. What is it? Chi is the energy which flows through our bodies. It is our life force as well as our sexual energy. Eastern traditions have been aware of Chi energy for millennia. Tantra, Tao, and Karetsa are all critically aware of the sexual energy which runs through us, its finite nature, and how to honor and cultivate it, not only sexually, but for growth and success in all areas of life. In Western culture, we do not have much interest in what this sexual energy is, and actually take it for granted. In our reductive medical way, Western culture has isolated this sexual energy to the sexual genitalia alone, using pharmaceutical medicines to temporarily mask over any sexual dysfunctions which arise, but ignoring the root causes of those dysfunctions. If you are reading this book, you have likely experienced sexual dysfunction. Many of you may be shaken to the core, having taken an enormous and life-altering hit to your confidence. You may have never thought about how your sexual performance actually works, until now. Yet mainstream Western medicine does not provide any answers to our questions, and instead labels us as impotent, or experiencing erectile dysfunction for men and sexual dysfunction for women. As men, this hits especially hard and can be debilitating to our confidence, lives, and normal day-to-day function. For myself, I never questioned how my sexual performance and system worked until I started to notice in my late 40s that I was having trouble getting aroused to a real live woman in front of me. I had no trouble getting aroused to pornography. For the next year and a half, I took on the heavy weight of the erectile dysfunction's scarlet letter and experimented with every different kind of pharmaceutical. I learned the science of our sexual anatomy and our bodily systems which support its healthy function. I also learned how Western mainstream medicine and pharmaceutical companies treat the symptoms. I even created my own blend based on a drug popular in Europe in my impossible quest for a pharmaceutical or even natural drug, which did not create side effects, but all of them caused debilitating side effects. This threw me into a deep spiral of depression because I was stuck with being unable to tolerate and navigate the pharmaceutical solution to sexual dysfunction. At the same time, I was unable to engage in the sacred act of sex without the pharmaceuticals, or so I thought. For me, it came down to either a natural, holistic approach to resolving my sexual performance, or I was facing the devastating and permanent loss of sexual confidence and connection I valued so deeply. This book is the result of years of experiential research into the real reasons and true connections which cause what we in Western culture refer to as sexual dysfunction. Through many trials and errors, countless hours of exhaustive research, an open mind, and steely determination, I was able to find a way for myself, and now for you, to become the sexual and relational beings we were all meant to be. Old age does not automatically take our sexual performance away from us, as Western culture and medicine ascribes. Eastern traditions have successfully cultivated vibrant sexual performance into old age without the use of pharmaceutical drugs. I searched for long-term solutions which utilize our body's own natural health and intelligence from within, rather than importing a short-term hardwire from an outside source. I have discovered that short-term temporary hardwires merely mimic insufficiently and imperfectly an already perfect system, which simply needs long-term holistic and curative healing. Pharmaceutical drugs for erectile dysfunction are admitted by the pharmaceutical companies and the medical institutions which promote them to be superficial and temporary fixes for erectile dysfunction. They also admit that they cause side effects. These drugs follow the Western medical viewpoint of isolating the problem to insufficient blood flow to the sexual organ, but fail to offer any viable, long-term, curative treatments and techniques to recover a vibrant sexual performance ever again. Pharmaceutical ED drugs cause the user to become dependent on short-term fixes, which the makers admit often leads to reduced and inevitably failing sexual performance. Furthermore, the actions of these ED drugs can never mimic the natural processes and feelings of healthy sexual performance without medications of any kind. Those processes and actions are wondrous and sacred and impossible to replicate with drugs. I have discovered that erectile dysfunction for men and sexual dysfunction for women are a warning sign that some other serious problem or set of problems has caused the canary in the coal mine to cry out for help. You cannot treat and resolve the symptom of sexual dysfunction until you look at the entire body, mind, and soul as a whole, with sexual performance acting as only one part of the whole body, which must function well together from head to toe. To heal your sexual performance, you must also heal your overall health in the circulatory, nervous, and neurological systems. Despite what the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical and supplement industries want you to believe, your sexual organs are not, nor can ever be, isolated from all the cells in your body. The reason pharmaceutical drugs for ED cause side effects is because the circulatory system is connected. You cannot isolate the genital pelvic region from the brain, the heart, and all the cells in your entire body. Our body is one great complex system, which works harmoniously together. A breakdown in one part signals a breakdown in the entire body, which needs to be addressed immediately. Chi sexual energy is the energy which runs through our entire body, from the complex neurons firing in our brain, to the endothelial function of our blood vessels, to our cells, and the mitochondria which drives our cells. The entire person must be treated physically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. This is where mainstream Western medicine has failed us currently, but this is where I can help you. Did I say this will be an easy, quick, and cheap fix like buying a bottle of pills and popping one in your mouth when the occasion arises? Western culture has become transfixed with easy, short-term solutions. If living a sexually vibrant lifestyle and feeling healthy and fit without the burden of any side effects is your goal, then you will need to invest your time, energy, and money towards this goal. It requires absolute and permanent commitment to these teachings, practices, and healing modalities in order to be successful. A miracle pill will never exist to replace true healing. Time, effort, and sacrifice are required to gain healthy sexual performance. You are so much more than a scarlet letter. You are a powerful and sovereign being, capable of anything you put your mind to. But it will not happen without your utmost focus and determination. It will not happen without the help of a higher power and being open to limitless learning, growth, and possibilities. Everything starts with God, the energy source which our chi sexual energy originates from, the creator of creation, and the power behind natural healing. Chapter 2, God. In the darkness of the deep canyon I had fallen into, when all hope had dissipated, every last option I grasped for had given way, and all I could think of to get out had eluded me, I could only seek solace and mercy in one place, God. I prayed with every fiber of my being, with tears welling up in my eyes, for a natural drug which did not have side effects and worked well. At first, I thought my prayers had been answered, when I had a dream about a drug which did not have side effects. But many weeks later, after trialing this drug, I discovered that it did have side effects. I was devastated. All my options had been exhausted. I had literally tried every class of drug, but there was nothing left which could mimic a natural erection without side effects. They were all mechanical, highly temperamental, exacting, and caused side effects which were debilitating to my creativity and the flow of my heart and soul. I could not live like that. Now I had really come to the end of the line. I fell into a deep depression for weeks at a time. I continued to pray every night, but this time my prayer was for a miracle which could heal me. I began to realize that God was not giving me a drug which could finally work. God was giving me a miracle healing. God opened my mind up to limitless discovery, growth, knowledge, and a journey of natural healing for my body, mind, and soul. This was the real gift, the ultimate miracle which never stops giving to me. When we cut ourselves or we get sick, it is not the Band-Aid, antibiotic cream, or medication which truly heals us. They just alleviate the symptoms. The real healing miracle comes naturally from within our body through the innate intelligence in every cell. This healing energy within us is the healing energy of God. I am asking you to pray with all of your heart and soul to God before starting this healing journey, because you need to first get in touch with the miracle of healing energy, which is God. Open your heart and mind to the creative flow, the limitless knowledge and creativity which is only found through God and is within you. The darkest night holds the potential to shine forth the brightest light. Coming close to God harnesses that potential. For myself, my first breakthrough came when I chanced upon a website called Your Brain on Porn. Chapter 3, The Pornography Epidemic. At first, the concepts in the very informative website Your Brain on Porn did not fully register with me. It took a month for all the concepts to coalesce into the aha moment. I learned how watching pornography over many years overstimulates the brain. the brain's dopamine levels and receptors become depleted to the same levels they do for cocaine and morphine addicts. In fact, the brain does not even differentiate between a physical addiction, such as a drug, and a neurological addiction, such as the potent superstimulus of watching pornography. I took the porn addiction test by seeing if I could get an erection watching pornography, and then seeing if I could get an erection with just sensual pleasure alone without pornography. I discovered that I did not have organic erectile dysfunction because I could get an erection watching pornography, but could not get an erection with just sensual stimulus alone. I actually had neurologically based erectile dysfunction. I had dramatically decreased my dopamine levels and receptors due to overstimulating my neurology with pornography. At the same time, I had desensitized my arousal to real human stimulation. This is called porn-induced erectile dysfunction, or PIED. I was a porn addict. I decided to quit watching pornography permanently, with the promise of curing my porn-induced erectile dysfunction. When I say that I made the decision, I mean I really made the connection, on a fundamental level, how the deep depression and profound loss of confidence I was suffering from was caused by watching pornography. I made the decision for good, and I never turned back. I have not watched pornography even once since I decided to quit. This is a critical teaching for you to understand. A deep connection and an absolute decision must be made in order to successfully quit the pornography addiction. I am calling on you to have this same hardcore level of determination, that you will never watch pornography for the rest of your life. Instead, focus your sexual energy on your real relationship with your partner, not a phantom on a screen which robs you of all that is real and truly critical to a happy, fulfilling life and relationship. Pornography has reached epidemic proportions. It is destroying neurology, relationships, and leaving men impotent. It traps us in a virtual fantasy loop we can never get out of unless we quit watching it. It does not matter what age you are. If you watch pornography regularly, you will experience porn-induced erectile dysfunction at some point. Older men who are perfectly healthy in their 40s and up are experiencing PIED. Men in their teens are experiencing PIED as virgins. The great pornography experiment is out, and the results are in. The results are harrowing, leaving an entire generation of young men incapable of having their first sexual experience of their lives and unable to connect in a real relationship. Young women are finding fields of disembodied and immobilized young men, unable to satisfy them on any level because their brains have been hijacked by the destructive neurology of pornography. We are simply being overwhelmed by the great pornography epidemic, and it is not even a fair fight. Our generation of youth have been ravaged by endless free internet pornography their entire lives, stunted from the normal growth processes of sexual and intimate experiences, and totally abandoned by all of us who were supposed to protect them from such devastation. Western medicine has poured salt on their wounds, misdiagnosing PIED as organic erectile dysfunction and prescribing them ED medications for the rest of their lives. Our generation of youth have caught on. They realize that the powerful Western medical institutions have misdiagnosed them, and that the pornography industry, pharmaceutical companies, and medical conglomerates cannot be trusted in their greed and power. They realize that nobody is really looking out for their best interest as they lose their inherent identity, confidence, and irreplaceable experiences, which they have been robbed of. Thanks to the work of Gary Wilson, who wrote and founded Your Brain on Porn, and the incredible scientific discoveries he linked between pornography, our neurology, and porn-induced erectile dysfunction, an entire movement of hundreds of thousands of youths have had enough. They have formed the NoFap forums, based on practicing no PMO. NoFap is short for no masturbation, and no PMO is short for no pornography, masturbation, and orgasm, or ejaculation for men and orgasm for women. They have transformed their lives into the vision they held so sacredly and dearly in their soul memories. They have taken their fate into their own hands and cracked the code to break out of the prison which rampant, uncontrolled internet pornography had trapped them in. I am so proud of our youth for finding their own way back to their freedom and God-given right to experience love, connection, intimacy, and romance in relationships. I am so proud of our youth for looking out for themselves, following their own hearts and what they knew to be their truth, and unequivocally rejecting the poisons being fed to them as daily food. I am so proud of them for having the strength and resolve to outright reject and distrust the pornography industry, mainstream Western medical institutions, and pharmaceutical companies, the leaders of parental society who were supposed to guide them, whose word was supposed to be trusted. After I quit watching pornography, I still had not made the decision to quit masturbating to ejaculation, even without watching pornography. It took me another month to make the connections between pornography, masturbation, ejaculation, and healthy relationships. When I finally made the connection, everything began to make sense. My journey to limitless discovery and learning had begun. Western culture maintains that regular ejaculation and orgasm is a good thing. Men in Western society are completely unaware of the immense toll which ejaculation takes on their body, mind, and soul. On the other hand, Eastern traditions have realized for millennia that regular ejaculation is incredibly depleting, recognizing that humans have limited chi sexual energy. The power behind one male ejaculation unleashes enough sperm to populate the entire United States of America. In Ayurvedic medicine, it is said that it takes 40 drops of blood to make 1 drop of semen. Semen retention is an essential pillar to the Hindu religion and many yogic texts. Qigong and Chinese medicine consider ejaculation to be a form of energy suicide. Qigong theorizes that Jing energy is diverted from many different meridians to the sexual organs during sexual excitement, only to be expelled during ejaculation. Immediately after ejaculation, a male will go into intense neurological, mental, and physical recovery for days and weeks, pulling all of the most precious resources from his body to replace the vital sperm. Dopamine levels crash and prolactin levels increase. This intense refractory period and process of replenishment, which lasts as long as 2 weeks, causes massive mood swings, fatigue, and distancing from relationships. Sound familiar, women? I did not realize that I was living in a constant state of sexual and energetic exhaustion and chronic recovery mode for decades. I took the NoFap challenge of 90 days without pornography, masturbation, and ejaculation, also known as monk mode. After I passed my 90-day challenge, I decided to ejaculate as an experiment. It was over the next few days that I realized the full force and level to which ejaculation depletes the body, mind, and soul. The superpowers I had gained by transmuting my chi sexual energy into optimal clarity, balanced moods, confidence, focus, passion, creativity, magnetism, and success were snuffed out overnight. I had no choice. I permanently quit ejaculation right then. I just could not bear the immense energetic drop I experienced in my body, my relationships, my career, and my life after an ejaculation. I loved the new me, the true me, too much. I have not ejaculated since. I highly recommend for your success that you take on this NoFap challenge of no PMO, no pornography, masturbation, and ejaculation for 90 days. By the time you complete the 90-day challenge, you will realize that your life has transformed on every level so fundamentally and massively, you will not want to ejaculate nor watch pornography ever again. After the 90-day challenge, if you resume sexual intercourse with your partner, I highly recommend for your continued long-term success that you use the Kegel exercises to keep yourself from losing your semen if you enter the moment of no return when the automatic process of semen ejaculation commences. It is impossible to keep small amounts of semen from escaping during sex. In fact, what we refer to as pre-cum is a small amount of semen which acts as a natural lubricant during intercourse. Your goal should be a conscious intention to avoid full climactic ejaculation and unintentional partial ejaculation. The practice of semen retention will actually enhance and prolong your sexual experience, not detract from it. Practicing semen retention is your next fundamental practice towards healing your sexual health, as well as becoming a more confident, powerful, magnetic, successful, and creative soul. I also highly recommend for you to read the book Cupid's Poisoned Arrow by Marnia Robinson. This is a life-transforming book and absolutely essential knowledge to have for creating successful relationships. Years and decades of regular ejaculation have depleted your finite chi sexual energy to red alert levels. Years and decades of pornography have depleted your vital neurochemistry needed to get aroused and gain an erection from real women to chronically low levels. Not only has this caused an inability to perform sexually, but it has also massively impacted your creativity, confidence, clarity, and overall energy levels in your body, mind, and soul. It has sabotaged your precious relationships with your loved ones, trapping you inside a shell or corpse of who you are truly meant to be in love and in society. You need to give your body time to recover and heal, to rebuild the chi sexual energy. Focus the chi energy towards your passions in life. Resensitize your brain dopamine to normal stimulus, which it has become numb to, and restore the sensitivity to your sexual organs by refraining from masturbation. Remember that chi energy is not just sexual energy. Chi energy is your life force, the light of God. It was at this point in time that I began to realize the real miracle God was giving me was discovering these beautiful and amazing teachings, which tied my sexual healing to a holistic body, mind, and soul healing. God had set me on a path of limitless discovery, which was transforming me into the very being God wanted me to be. The light of God, which my addiction to pornography, ejaculation, and perpetual dopamine crashes had blocked for decades, was finally allowed to shine again into my body, mind, heart, and soul. This miracle God has bestowed upon me has led me to writing this book. This book is for you, God, just as I promised you. Thank you so much, God, for saving me when I had lost everything. You have given me back my sexual health and my ideal life. You have transformed me into the person you truly want me to be. That is the true miracle. That is the miracle I want all of you to receive also, by giving all of your heart and soul to prayer each night before bed. When you receive your miracle, do not ever stop praying. Continue to pray every night, even when all is well again. Continue to heal and transform into the being God always wanted you to be. That is how you repay God for all the blessings you have received. The crushing weight of the erectile dysfunction label is truly a cruel diagnosis Western medicine unduly places upon millions of men. A man's identity and confidence are intricately and deeply intertwined with sexual function and intimacy. Fully embodied intimate relationships are irreplaceable experiences for men and women. This is an incredibly traumatic time for men. During this time, it is essential for the holistic healing process to seek out counseling or coaching with experts who have already navigated these waterways successfully. It is also integral to be fully transparent and open with your partner about your goals and everything you are feeling, experiencing, and working on. The support of an expert coach and your partner is invaluable during your recovery. It is no different than recovery from a drug addiction, and there should be no shame. During no PMO, you are allowing old neural pathways based on addiction to die out. You are blazing brand new neural trails based on renewed passion, confidence, connectivity, maturity, and vitality. This is the perfect time to transform yourself in your relationship with God, your partner, and your loved ones into a healthy, connective, positive, and new life of your dreams. Pray to God for such a beautiful healing miracle. God will have no choice but to answer the deep, heartfelt prayers of His child. Chapter 4: The Relationship Epidemic. I feel a deep sadness for women today. The pornography epidemic, which has claimed the majority of men, has triggered a relationship epidemic for women. The odds of women finding men who are not addicted to pornography, masturbation, and orgasm, or PMO, are extremely low. Women stand no chance of competing with the ceaseless tsunami of virtual women performing perfectly choreographed sexual imagery, intentionally geared for men's neurology. Like the tragic environmental image of a lone polar bear searching for ever-diminishing, fractured, and melting ice sheets to hunt on, modern women are starving for truly connective, communicative, bonding-based intimacy with men, yet forced to swim further out each year to gain any kind of sustenance to survive. Women exhibit an innate, deep yearning for the bonding and connective love they can see and feel in their hearts. Yet the exhaustive search for this kind of relationship or marriage more and more often results in drownings far out from solid ice, deep at sea. This is the tragedy we find ourselves in today, in this age of the pornographic epidemic, ripping the very fabric of our love relationships apart. It is up to women to set clear boundaries and make firm requests in their relationships and marriages, which state that PMO and mating-based climactic-driven sex are not healthy or beneficial to the relationship. There truly is no other way to create and protect a healthy, long-term bonding relationship. I can attest that men will lie to cover up the embarrassment of their pornography addiction, rationalize their behavior, and even resort to blaming and gaslighting their partner. In this way, pornography addiction is the same as any other addiction to physical substances. Men are acutely aware that if they actually were to be completely transparent and laid bare the naked truth of all their minutes and content spent masturbating to ejaculation with pornography, their relationship could not survive the immense damage it would inflict. Instead, men cower, hide, deceive, and manipulate when threatened or confronted with their addiction to PMO. Men may not understand the concepts of the bonding lotus, semen retention, and the neurology of pornographic addiction while under the spell of the addiction and its intense neurological and physical refractory cycles. It is empowering and healthy for women to share these concepts with their loved ones. Unfortunately, many men do not fully and permanently integrate these concepts into their behaviors until they see for themselves the devastation it has wrought on their relationships and their inability to perform sexually. As is the case with an alcoholic, men may need to hit rock bottom in order to fully grasp the magnitude of their addiction and make the permanent decision to quit their addiction to PMO. It can be very difficult for women to recognize the signs and symptoms of a PMO addiction in their relationship. Based on my own experience, I can give women a clear picture of what to look for. Men's preferred device, such as a phone or computer, is not just a convenient tool for communication and research. Their device is their vehicle for their addiction to pornography. It is their lifeline, which they are critically dependent on to satisfy their addiction. Men will become territorial with their device and extremely reluctant to share it with you. Watch his reaction. If he has nothing to hide, he should want to share his device with you anytime you request access. You may notice the history on his phone will be cleared. If he is clever, he may even figure out how to clear the last hour on his device, so that it is impossible to trace his virtual behavior. When one device becomes compromised, he will go to another device, maybe even yours, if he becomes desperate enough. He will find any way to climax to pornography. If he refuses your overtures for sexual intimacy, you can be certain he has already satiated himself to his favorite pornography, and he is in a recovery and refractory period of replenishment. Because men can only guess when sex may spontaneously occur, they will occasionally guess wrong and ejaculate to pornography before the moment arises. His excuse for turning down such an opportunity will seem perplexing to you, and even to him. Men are unable to hide the overbearing physical, mental, and neurological burdens of their addiction to PMO. He will show clear signs of fatigue, depletion and irritability, episodes of anger and rage, a lack of patience, empathy, sensitivity, emotional availability and presence, and an inability to nurture, listen, connect, and grow in the relationship. He will lack motivation, inspiration, passion, and vitality in the relationship and in his life in general. The man you fell in love with literally may not be the same man anymore, on a physical, mental, emotional, and relational level, due to the ferocity of the addiction. No man is strong enough to overcome the ravages of such a powerful addiction to the superstimulus of ejaculatory masturbation to pornography. Chapter 5: Semen Retention. I was terrified that possibly I also had some degree of organic erectile dysfunction because of my age in my late 40s. So I continued on the path I had already started, healing any sources of organic erectile dysfunction. At the same time, I anxiously awaited the incredible process of healing from porn-induced erectile dysfunction, or PIED, by practicing no pornography, masturbation, and orgasm, or no PMO. The timeline for healing from PIED is different for every individual, depending on the age, history, and intensity of the addiction. In general, a full recovery of healthy sexual performance may take several months to a year without regressive behavior. For some, their neurological recovery and rewire may take 2 years. This wonderful process of neurological healing, by refraining from PMO, will show increasingly positive and exciting results throughout each individual's timeline, as long as the process is successfully followed. I knew that the main issue I had was porn-induced, and that refraining from it would eventually heal my PIED. I also knew that continuing to raise the overall levels of my physical health would help me even more to become the sexual being I wanted to be and prevent any future organic erectile dysfunction into old age. I knew that the amazing organic healing modalities I had discovered, and which I will discuss in the following chapters, would transform my body into a much healthier one, not only for greater sexual performance, but also for overall life performance. Sexual health is completely inseparable from overall health. The current state of our sexual health is a vital indicator of the current state of health or disease within our cardiovascular, nervous, and neurological systems. I began to see enormous transformations the longer I retained my semen and refrained from pornography. My energy levels, mental clarity, confidence, and moods were higher than I could remember in decades. It was one of the best feelings of my life. A brand new life of limitless possibilities had opened up for me. I made deeper discoveries, nuances, and connections as I continued honoring God's miracle given to me by learning, reading, and researching. I profoundly understood how invaluable semen retention is for sexual potency and overall energy levels. Tantric masters believe that sex with semen retention is very effective at restoring healthy erectile function while recovering from neurological or organic ED. Our brains rewire to the normal dopamine levels and intimacy of a real loving partner, as opposed to the damaging superhuman dopamine levels of virtual pornography. Vital nutrients, growth factors, and hormones are cycled throughout our body and brains during lovemaking with semen retention. Deep mental, emotional, and spiritual bonds are formed while laying down new, powerful, healthy, and long-lasting neural pathways. I made the connections between practicing semen retention and having healthy, long-term relationships through ancient practices such as Tao, Tantra, and Karetsa. Conversely, I began to see how unconsciously practicing ejaculation and mating behaviors, rather than consciously practicing semen retention and bonding behaviors, was the cause of our divorce epidemic, tearing even the most ideal relationships apart. Mating behavior is a term used to describe the unbridled, primal, sexual mating habits, which are instinctive to our mammalian brain. These mating habits primarily focus on engaging in sexual intercourse with the sole purpose of reaching climactic ejaculation and orgasm. Our brain has evolved mating behavior as a highly effective means to procreate maximum genetic diversity through novel mate selection. Mating behavior poses an insidious and potentially grave systematic threat to the establishment and retention of long-term healthy relationships and marriages, due to the neurology of sexual satiety and distancing, which takes place over time with continual ejaculatory and climactic-driven sex. The subject of mating and bonding neurological pathways and behaviors requires an entire book to explain how our relationships and marriages may be impacted. Thankfully, Marnia Robinson actually did write such a highly informative book, Cupid's Poisoned Arrow, to illuminate this critical subject and provide us with the tools to apply to our existing or future relationships or marriages. Because the poison of pornography, ejaculation, and mating behavior has become such an accurate predictor of relationship and marriage separations, I advise all women to request that any current or potential partner read Cupid's Poisoned Arrow, quit watching pornography, and practice some form of semen retention. These detrimental predictive factors in relationships can be traced to the harsh neurological and physiological refractory period, which takes place after an ejaculatory event, in which dopamine crashes and prolactin rises. This intense process induces a dramatic shift in mood, the inability to connect with the partner, and a lengthy period of recovery. Overlapping periods of recovery cause debilitating moods and energy levels perpetually. These moods of mating behavior inevitably lead to the distancing of men from their partners and a search for novel mates, perpetuating the never-ending cycle of dopamine imbalance and addiction. Pornography addiction further distances men from their partners by desensitizing their neurology to their loved ones. Inevitably, a real connective partner is entirely replaced by a virtual fantasy of pixels on a screen. Men have become addicted to the debilitating cycles of ejaculation and pornography, leading to devolved relationships and an onslaught of partner and marriage graveyards. Even the most ideal partners do not stand a chance. I made connections with the cycles of my failed marriage and the relationships and marriages I saw crumbling all around me. I witnessed a trend. The relationships start off hot and heavy with healthy portions of honeymoon intimacy and sex based on untamed semen ejaculation and orgasms. The new partners addictively pursue this mating and climax-based behavior, men especially focusing more and more exclusively on just the sexual act, and the goal of ejaculatory climax, to the exclusion of vital bonding behaviors. This absence of bonding behaviors in the relationship causes the women to feel unloved and used only for sex. The men feel criticized, unable to see what has become of themselves and the state of the relationship. The men are no longer able to connect with their beloved, as their neurochemistry pulls them further into the quest for more ejaculatory release and relief from the refractory and recovery cycles. Distancing devolves into criticism and dissatisfaction, which inevitably leads to searching for someone novel and better, or so they think. This cycle repeats endlessly with new partners and marriages until it is finally replaced and hardwired with healthy bonding behaviors in the relationship. There is a way to heal and preserve our relationships long term. We just have not had the knowledge and tools until now. Some theorize that women may also go through a similar neurochemical distancing, in addition to men, due to orgasm and climax-based sexual satiety in the relationship. Women should pay close attention to changes in neurochemistry and relational behaviors when engaging in regular orgasms in their sexual relationships. Based on my experience, women are less impacted by orgasms during sexual union than men, when women are engaged in a healthy relationship or marriage. If men are bringing bonding-based intimacy to the relationship and practicing semen retention, orgasms for women may not have the same detrimental effect as it does for men. If women are conscious of when they want to orgasm and engage in bonding-based intimacy and connective behaviors inside a loving relationship, orgasms can actually be healthy and deepening. However, if women are seeking orgasms to avoid facing an unhealthy relationship or in reaction to their partner's exclusive mating-based ejaculatory behavior, orgasms may be unhealthy in such situations. The greatest challenge facing women these days is finding a man who is capable of a truly connective, engaging, and nurturing relationship due to the epidemic of pornographic and ejaculatory addiction facing men. There is a massive relational dysfunction plaguing men on a physical, emotional, neurological, and spiritual level. The best way to test neurochemical changes to the brain is to avoid ejaculation or orgasm for 30 days. Upon resuming ejaculation or orgasm, it will become obvious how your neurochemistry dramatically changes with mating-based sexual satiety, both for men and for women. I recommend women also go through this test, even if just to become more familiar with the role of orgasms in their lives and deepen the meaning of when and how orgasms can benefit the relationship. The very act of what Western culture sees as connective in the form of mating-based sexual intercourse with the goal of semen ejaculation and climactic orgasm becomes the very poison which ultimately leads to the destruction of the relationship, no matter how destined for success at the beginning. I saw the same results in all relationships, just like clockwork. I knew that from the very start of a new relationship and to renew an existing relationship, bonding behaviors and semen retention are absolutely critical to a successful, long-term love relationship or marriage. The mammalian brain has evolved over hundreds of thousands of years and hardwired alongside our body's complex system of neurology, circulation, and nerves to form two major behavioral pathways, namely what we will refer to as the mating and bonding behavioral pathways. The Western cultural way of behaving in relationships is to practice regular mating behaviors based exclusively on reaching the end goal of ejaculation and orgasm. Eastern traditions such as Tao, Tantra, and Kurtza have evolved practices based on bonding behaviors, while refraining from any exclusive goal of ejaculation and orgasm. These practices focus on building and retaining a deep connection with your partner on a metaphysical and spiritual level. Intimacy and sex become a dance rather than a singular goal-driven act, a dance which can bring us closer to God. Practices like Tao, Tantra, and Kurtza have discovered ways to hack the mating behavior which is so strongly entrenched in our psyche and neurology, something we truly cannot suppress. They supplant it with bonding behaviors, which satisfy our intense mating demands, yet build stable relationships that can last indefinitely. While mating behaviors inevitably lead to distancing, breakups, and divorces of even the most ideal partners, bonding behaviors build deep connections which keep our vital relationships healthy and long-lasting for a lifetime. Bonding behaviors include sensual caressing, meaningful touching, eye-gazing, deep listening, slow-building foreplay, honoring feelings, cuddling, holding, embracing, and of course, abstaining from any goal-oriented focus on ejaculation and orgasm. These gentle, connective, and nurturing bonding behaviors create the feel-good hormone oxytocin on a neurochemical level and deep roots of relational connection on a psycho-spiritual level. Conversely, mating behavior with the sole focus of ejaculation and orgasm creates an extreme spike in dopamine levels at the point of ejaculation and orgasm, but dramatically crashes as soon as climax has been achieved. An irretrievable process of neurological and physical recovery begins the moment climax is finished, which explains why men want to distance themselves right after sexual intercourse. This process continues for up to 2 weeks, weaving up and down. Frequent ejaculation with overlapping dopamine crash cycles creates a perpetual and permanent state of recovery. Chi sexual energy slips precipitously, and the ability to cultivate a meaningful relationship becomes increasingly unattainable. The Eastern traditions replaced the destructive dopamine-dominant mating cycle with the equally powerful oxytocin-laden bonding lotus. Bonding behavior has evolved for the same amount of time in our neurology as mating behavior. Bonding evolved as a powerful way to connect us deeply to our babies, children, friends, and family. Essentially, we are able to get the same results through bonding behaviors, which we are craving through our mating behaviors. However, this results in the much more rewarding and long-lasting relationship which we truly desire. This is your next fundamental practice towards healing your sexual health and having long-lasting, healthy relationships. I highly recommend for you to practice Tao, Tantra, or Karetsa. Replace your mating behavior with bonding behavior, alongside the rewiring taking place neurologically with your abstinence from pornography. Allow your dopamine to return to healthy, normalized levels. Resensitize to the beauty of life outside the superstimulation of pornography, while building oxytocin through bonding behaviors with your loved one. Eventually, you can have full body orgasms and ejaculation without semen release by practicing oxytocin-based, deep, connective bonding behaviors with your partner. Full body orgasms and ejaculation without semen release is the holy grail of higher level Tantra. Yet it is attainable by engaging in connective, heart-centered lovemaking, knowing and reading your body during intercourse, pulling out briefly when you feel large buildups, and ultimately refraining from semen release. The Kegel exercise technique can be employed to avoid losing any semen if the point of no return has been crossed. When your tantric, Taoist, or Karetsa bonding dance has finished, rather than distancing yourself from your partner, feeling confused, depleted, and grumpy, you can enjoy the ecstasy of closely cuddling and embracing together in sacred, timeless, breathless union. This is when you know your sexual healing has become united with the healing of your entire body, mind, and soul. This is when intimacy and sex touch the healing energy of God. Chapter 6: Alternative or Mainstream. In the previous chapters, we have covered critical and fundamental philosophies, approaches, and practices for curing neurological causes of erectile dysfunction and relationship deterioration. These practices should be sufficient on their own to transform your sexual and relational dysfunction to the highest levels you have always dreamed of. I will cover the practices we will utilize for any mild to severe forms of organic erectile dysfunction in the following chapters. I see endless lines of young men in their 20s and 30s who should have no sexual dysfunction, seeking medication for their inability to perform sexually. I feel so sad seeing them suffer without understanding the real reasons they are having to seek professional help from Western medicine for their erectile dysfunction. If they would just quit watching pornography permanently, quit ejaculating all the time addictively, retain their semen, and deeply pray to God for healing and guidance, they would not be in such a horrible state in their lives. If Western medicine truly understood the neurology behind pornographic addiction and porn-induced erectile dysfunction, as well as the concepts of sexual depletion through frequent ejaculation, they could simply ask these young men how often they watch pornography to ejaculation as the number one diagnosis. Instead, Western medicine hands these perfectly healthy young men their lifelong prescription of erectile dysfunction drugs and permanently brands them with the humiliating and debilitating scarlet letter of erectile dysfunction. How many millions of poor young men are being misdiagnosed? That thought always haunts me as I walk by the endless lines of hopeless and terrified young men, as well as men and women of all ages. Women are plagued by the same debilitating and humiliating scarlet letter of sexual dysfunction. It is just that men have much higher rates of addiction to pornography and ejaculation. Some estimates put the number of men who have watched pornography as high as 98% and 73% for women. Around 80% of men and 26% of women watch pornography weekly. As an older man myself, the biggest fear I faced while recovering from PIED was that I also could be suffering some form of organic ED, in addition to PIED. I anxiously waited for my neurology to return to balance while I practiced no PMO. Mainstream Western medicine had thoroughly brainwashed me to believe that it is normal for older men to have organic ED. In time, I learned the truth. It is absolutely normal for older men to have a vibrant sexual function once the addictions have been stripped away and harmony in body, mind, and soul has been restored to balance. Western culture places godlike faith in Western medicine, believing everything they say as absolute truth, without question. But Western doctors are part of a multi-billion-dollar, powerful conglomeration of medical institutions, hospitals, insurance companies, and pharmaceutical industries. They are all interwoven and work together as an extremely lucrative machine. Mainstream doctors learn this established system from their medical schools and then receive marching orders from their place of work. They cannot deviate from the script which these powerful industries give them. Essentially, they stop growing, learning, and practicing holistic, curative, and preventative healing modalities. Their jobs, money, and power do not profit off long-term approaches, which do not have a quantifiable barcode they can attach to it and replicate for the masses. Naturopathic medicine looks at each patient as a unique individual who can never be diagnosed with the masses. Naturopathy looks at the problem ailing the individual through a whole body, mind, and soul approach, and employs natural and holistic healing modalities which get to the root source of the symptoms. The FDA often tries to block effective naturopathic and alternative healing modalities. In some cases, the FDA may even employ policies which weaken naturopathic and alternative modalities in order to allow powerful mainstream corporations to monopolize these treatments for larger profit or simply eliminate any competition. I am not saying that mainstream Western medicine does not have amazing abilities to benefit and heal patients. I am saying not to blindly believe everything they say to you. Western medicine has limitations based on the interests of rich and powerful conglomerations, who will try to block curative alternative modalities which pose a threat to their lucrative machine. These powerful machines do not see you as an individual. They do not offer holistic, curative, and preventative healing on a body, mind, and soul level, and they do not really care if you suffer with side effects and their humiliating labels, so long as they keep their high-paying jobs and feed their lucrative machine. I do not trust them without doing my own research, following my own heart, and checking with God first. They label highly curative and effective holistic medical practices as alternative. I believe we have it backwards. What we call alternative medicine is doing the most learning and growth on how to treat each individual, while what we call mainstream medicine stops truly researching and learning, instead following a printed script. I actually believe in many ways mainstream Western medicine is in malpractice when it comes to pushing symptom-based pharmaceutical medicine and surgeries over any form of curative and preventative holistic body, mind, and soul approach. Mainstream Western medicine can be highly effective when it comes to treating emergency situations, such as accidents which require technical surgeries. There are cases where utilizing mainstream Western medicine is the correct and necessary choice. However, there are many less dramatic but equally pernicious cases where Western medicine does not provide any true depth of inquiry nor get to the root of the symptom. They simply hover around the symptom without the systemic support to even inquire about how the symptom originated on a body, mind, and soul level. Many of the following natural treatments are only practiced by alternative medical clinics and not by mainstream Western medical institutions. In fact, mainstream Western medical doctors, as I said before, will often attempt to discourage you from anything other than their diagnoses and treatments. I highly encourage you to embrace the magnificent body of knowledge and learning these alternative medical clinics safeguard and practice. Your mainstream Western medical doctor's eyes will glaze over as he or she tries to slander these poor alternative medical clinics who are guarding the vast and storied history of alternative medicine, which originates from our greatest past civilizations. Ironically, what we now refer to as alternative medicine has been around for millennia, while what we refer to as mainstream medicine is very recent in its origins. Mainstream Western medicine has only recently been created around advances in pharmaceutical drugs and advanced surgeries, rapidly growing into the massive multi-billion-dollar fine-tuned machine we see today. Do not believe your mainstream medical doctor at face value without doing your own thorough and exhaustive research. Know exactly what you allow into your sacred body temple. Seek out comprehensive natural medicine which is in harmony with your body, mind, and soul, and free of any side effects. Practice holistic, curative, and preventative treatments, something entirely absent from mainstream Western medicine. Seek the root cause of the symptoms and prevent future symptoms and diseases by using holistic, natural approaches. The next chapters will get more scientific in delivery as we address any current or future sources of organic erectile dysfunction. I have successfully developed the following natural and holistic protocol of treatments in order to cure current symptoms or prevent their occurrence in the future. By combining the neurological, psychological, spiritual, and relational practices and philosophies I gave you in the previous chapters, with the physical, natural, holistic healing practices and modalities I will give you in the following chapters, we will address sexual dysfunction on a complete body, mind, and soul level. Organic erectile dysfunction is difficult to diagnose. Mainstream Western medicine acknowledges that organic forms of ED are usually associated with more serious conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, arteriosclerosis, radical pelvic surgery, or neurological disease. The mainstream Western solution to a patient experiencing erectile dysfunction is to automatically classify it as organic in origins and prescribe pharmaceutical drugs which target the endothelial and cardiovascular functions of our blood vessels. This is misinformed and often misdiagnosed. These drugs bypass and override the root cause of the dysfunction, offering only mechanical, temporary, and diminishing results. The debilitating side effects are a result of targeting the dysfunction in isolation, rather than the whole body, mind, and soul through holistic treatments and prevention. These drugs completely ignore neurologically based erectile dysfunction, which is another reason so many men see diminishing or failing results. Diagnosing erectile dysfunction, which originates from an organic source, other than these more serious conditions, is just not possible. It really is a guess at that point. Room for misdiagnosis with the scarlet letter of organic erectile dysfunction is highly possible and probable. This is why holistic, curative, and preventative natural medicine is the perfect approach to organic and neurological ED. This is why I practice it myself, why I have personally experienced such enormous success, and why I highly recommend for you to practice it as well. Remember, what is good for your overall health is good for your sexual health. It cannot be separated. It is holistic. Chapter 7. Hormones. In 1935, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, or BHRT, and testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, were discovered in the West. Despite its long history, TRT is often misunderstood by most people who confuse it with anabolic steroids. Additionally, there is a huge misconception that TRT is only for men. Both of these misconceptions do not stand up to the actual science. Anabolic steroids are vastly different from TRT. Weightlifters and athletes sometimes use anabolic steroids in superhuman doses, which are far above the normal doses used by TRT, and oftentimes stacked with other substances, such as peptides and growth hormones. Actually, TRT is widely practiced and accepted by both mainstream and alternative medicine as an invaluable tool for aging men and women whose testosterone levels have declined. A blood or urine analysis is performed to look at your current levels of testosterone, along with other hormones and indicators, such as estrogen. Doses of testosterone are prescribed with the goal of returning levels to the upper tier of the normal range we experienced in our youth. Anabolic steroid use surpasses this ideal zone of normal testosterone levels by many-fold. Testosterone replacement therapy, used as a monotherapy, is highly effective at improving libido and erectile function in men suffering from mild erectile dysfunction. Moderate to severe erectile dysfunction is often complicated by more serious conditions, which can also be healed holistically and may still include TRT. In addition, TRT helps build muscle mass, burn fat, increase energy levels, balance moods, such as anxiety and depression, and improve sleep and mental clarity. Essentially, TRT restores the younger version of yourself. We are going to utilize this valuable and highly effective tool to transform your body, mind, and soul into a vibrant, healthy one. Your sexual, holistic, or naturopathic health clinic will decide if you are a candidate for TRT. Since testosterone levels decrease with age, the symptoms of testosterone deficiency become very accurate indicators of the need for TRT. The symptoms of testosterone deficiency in men and women are reduced sex drive, fatigue, reduced lean muscle mass, irritability, erectile dysfunction, and lack of sleep. Because it is often impossible to compare your current levels of testosterone to past ideal levels, it is best to rely on your current readings and any symptoms of testosterone deficiency. Testosterone replacement therapy for women is completely misunderstood, causing unneeded and immense suffering for women who have been misinformed and discouraged from receiving its holistic healing benefits. This places women at greater risk for developing debilitating menopausal symptoms and breast cancer. Women greatly benefit from TRT in the same ways as men, including sexually. Women have 20 times more testosterone than estrogen, making it the dominant hormone in women. In fact, women's bodies create all of their estrogen from testosterone. Studies have shown that women who receive bioidentical pellet testosterone replacement therapy, or BPTRT, gain improvement in all menopausal symptoms and have substantially reduced cases of breast cancer compared to conventional hormone therapy or no therapy at all. A 10-year study demonstrated a 39% lower incidence of invasive breast cancer in women receiving BPTRT. For 15 years, study after study has concluded that bioidentical pellet TRT holds immense therapeutic value for aging women low in testosterone. In fact, bioidentical pellet TRT has been shown to help reduce and eliminate breast cancer tumors, which were already existing before BPTRT was added. The myth being spread that hormone replacement therapy may cause breast cancer in women simply does not apply to bioidentical pellet TRT in women. In fact, the opposite holds true. BPTRT can be used as a monotherapy to reduce breast cancer. It is critical to note that these landmark studies showing the immense therapeutic value of BPTRT used natural pellet forms of testosterone alone or in combination with anastrozole. Conventional forms of hormone replacement therapy applied as an injection, patch, or cream using synthetic estrogen alone should not be used by women, as they actually increase incidences of breast cancer. Women are being misled and deprived of the same bioidentical pellet TRT, which men are receiving such immense benefits from. Why is this? I believe this is the result of mainstream Western medicine lacking any will or ability to study, incorporate, and practice holistic, curative, and preventative forms of healing. They are structured solely for reacting to immediate symptoms. They do not have the financial incentive to go beyond their conventional pharmaceuticals and surgeries. Instead, they spread misinformation due to their lack of thorough investigation, research, and knowledge of holistic healing modalities, which can greatly benefit our quality of life and avoid side effects. I highly recommend for you to use the most natural and holistic application of TRT, which is bioidentical pellet testosterone replacement therapy. It has been practiced since 2004 in the pellet application. Bioidentical hormone replacement therapy in various natural forms has been practiced in China for thousands of years. This specific bioidentical pellet form of TRT applies tiny pellets made from natural plant sources under the skin. They are biologically identical or bioidentical to the testosterone found naturally in our body. Our body receives a small, consistent dose of testosterone, which closely mimics the natural cycles of our hormone levels and avoids the inconsistencies of injections. Our body pulls what it needs naturally until the pellets dissolve in 3 to 6 months. For myself, I receive new pellets every 3 months, but only after my levels of testosterone show they have lowered. You will begin to feel the positive results of the TRT pellets within a few days. You will notice a jump in energy levels back to how you felt many years ago. I want you to fully harness this returned vigor and focus it on weight training and exercise. The pellets will help you to burn fat and build muscle with the increased energy you will feel. I want you to maximize its effect. Your sexual, holistic, or naturopathic health clinic will give men anastrozole to lower estrogen levels during TRT. This shows women how the body makes estrogen naturally from testosterone. There is no need for women to add estrogen. The clinic will also give men and women the hormone HCG, or human chorionic gonadotropin, to inject 2 to 3 times per week. HCG should always be part of the TRT protocol because it helps maintain fertility and libido while further increasing testosterone levels. For men, HCG has the added bonus of increasing the size of their testicles and the length of their lingam or penis. TRT raises the red blood cell component of your blood. Your clinic will monitor testosterone, estrogen, and red blood cell levels throughout your treatments. They may recommend donating blood regularly to offset the increase in red blood cell levels, to increase sexual performance, and for overall health. Donating blood regularly has many therapeutic benefits, besides the great feeling of helping people in desperate need of blood. I highly recommend for your sexual and overall health to donate blood regularly, especially when receiving pellet TRT. Regular blood donation decreases red blood cell count while stimulating the body to produce new blood cells. This regenerative process of creating new blood cells keeps blood flow and overall health optimal by lowering blood viscosity and pressure. Excellent blood flow is needed for erections. Regular blood donation reduces oxidants and iron stores in the body and increases antioxidant capacity. Lower iron and oxidant levels are linked with lower risk of cancer, heart disease, and liver disease. Donating blood even once per year reduces the risk of having a heart attack by 88%. I highly recommend supplementing daily with a multivitamin containing iron whenever donating blood regularly. Iron supplementation significantly reduces the time it takes for iron and hemoglobin levels to return to normal after blood donation. Chapter 8. Sexual Muscles. I highly recommend for you to create a new consistent exercise and weight program, which I will give you right now. If there is one exercise I had to pick as the most important of all, it would be sit-ups. Using a decline abdominal bench, start with 2 sets of 20 sit-ups on a slightly steep decline. Slowly build up over time to 2 sets of 45 sit-ups on a steeper decline. You can continue adding more sit-ups as your abdominal muscles strengthen. Each time you progress with sit-ups, you will feel some discomfort. As your muscles grow stronger, you will no longer feel any discomfort. Remain steadfast in your determination, using your mind over your body. Over months, your goal is to burn fat and build muscle from your chest all the way to your lingam. This process requires patience, determination, and consistency every day. It takes time to build layers of new muscles which have been deactivated for so long. Push yourself. Discomfort is a good sign, as long as you do not create an injury. Injury is avoided by slowly adding more sit-ups and decline, rather than attempting a large and unreasonable amount at once. The lingam is a Hindu word for the male penis and a reverent symbol of divine generative energy. The area from the chest to the lingam of the aging male body experiences atrophy and stagnant chi sexual energy quite easily as a result of decreased testosterone, lack of exercise, and an unhealthy diet. Male breasts are also largely the result of hormonal imbalance, from decreased testosterone and increased estrogen. To strengthen your lingam, I want you to build the pelvic floor, or PC muscles. A solid trail of strong muscles from the chest through the lingam is necessary for optimal sexual performance. A study showed that performing PC muscle exercises twice daily for 3 months, also known as Kegel exercises, significantly improved erectile dysfunction in men. I highly recommend for you to perform Kegels twice a day, in the morning and evening. Follow the specific Kegel instructions, which are based specifically on studies for improving erectile function. You can find this video on YouTube, Michelle Kenway, Kegel Exercises for Erectile Dysfunction Physiotherapy Guide, retrieved July 6, 2021. Kegel exercises combined with semen retention will noticeably improve the size of your lingam and PC muscles as more chi sexual energy and blood flow returns to the sexual areas of your body. So let's get those muscles in shape. I highly recommend for you to work out your legs and arms using weights, push-ups, and a Bowflex Max trainer every other day. Allowing a day to recover maximizes muscle growth. Deep restorative stretching is especially important in between days of weight resistance to maintain flexibility in the muscles, tendons, and fascia. Sit-ups should still be practiced daily. Include cardio workouts such as walking or running. Infrared saunas have also been shown to increase circulatory health, raise nitric oxide levels, burn fat, and remove toxins. We want to use the testosterone boost from the pellets to help us build lean muscle and burn fat. Getting rid of fat is essential for excellent sexual health. Our chi sexual energy and blood circulation require unobstructed flow from the chest to the lingam. Fat chokes the natural flow of energy and circulation along these pathways. If your stubborn fat levels have built up over the years to the point at which it seems impossible to get rid of it, then consider getting smart liposculpture to give yourself the jumpstart on a new beginning. Liposculpture is not just a cosmetic procedure. It is an important procedure and tool for getting rid of surface fat. With dramatically less surface fat, our body can more easily burn visceral fat, which is an especially dangerous form of fat for our health. Eat healthy, organic, nutrient-dense vegan food. It is a myth that vegans do not get enough protein. A plant-based diet has all the same protein levels and amino acid building blocks that a meat-based diet has, but without the saturated fats, free radicals, and carcinogens present in animal products. Whereas meat causes heart disease, arteriosclerosis, and cancer, plants contain antioxidants which protect and prevent us from developing these major diseases. A plant-based diet has been shown to protect us from the 15 leading causes of death in the world. I have been vegan for 20 years. My blood tests reveal healthy levels of protein and cholesterol. The strongest, fastest, greatest athletes in the world are vegan and are finding much better success in winning championships and breaking records with a plant-based diet. The meat industry has done an excellent marketing campaign, but their claims simply are not supported by the science. We are mere consumers, parroting the marketing mantras of the meat, egg, and dairy industries. We employ societal and cultural peer pressure on those who pose a threat to these persuasive corporate conglomerates and the revolving doors of animal consumption, disease, pharmaceuticals, and hospitals. Studies show that eating meat has both immediate and long-term negative effects on erections. The saturated fat, which immediately enters the bloodstream after a meat-based meal, impairs optimal endothelial function within our blood vessels. I highly recommend for your success to switch to a vegan diet and watch the documentary The Game Changers. Give your body the nutrients it needs, such as superfoods, juices, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. Stop eating dairy products, wheat, refined flours, and sugar. It takes a few weeks after giving up old unhealthy eating habits for your cultural conditioning and taste buds to transform. I promise you, as your body and brain start to feel the increased energy, clarity, and light from eating healthy food, you will crave whole grains, legumes, nuts, vegetables, fruits, juices, and superfoods. New neural pathways will form around your new eating lifestyle. The old neural pathways, formed around unhealthy eating habits, will die out. Our brains are incredibly flexible once we consistently evoke change from within. This applies to our health, diet, exercise, and the new gorgeous shape of our body. I want you to utilize the plasticity of your brain to create an entirely new lifestyle. I want you to totally transform yourself, not just make little strides. I transformed my body into one with little to no fat. I can feel and see every strong muscle from my chest to my lingam. I used my determination and willpower to realize my vision for my body. I want you to rediscover what every muscle from your chest to your lingam should look and feel like in its ideal state, free of fat covering. Do not give up. Be consistent every day no matter what distraction comes up. Make it your priority in life. What appears as an enormous distance between where you are now and the ideal image you hold for yourself is not as far as you think. Extracorporeal pulse activation technology, or EPAT, is a non-invasive healing modality which uses low-intensity sound waves to clear calcified plaque in the blood vessels of the lingam and surrounding area, as well as grow new erectile tissue. Studies have shown that EPAT can improve and potentially restore erectile function in men with ED when used as a monotherapy. EPAT is most effective when it is applied to the top, sides, and underside of the lingam, as well as the supporting blood vessels surrounding the lingam. EPAT works synergistically with stem cells and PRP to grow new blood vessels and repair the endothelial system in the lingam and surrounding pelvic region. Intermittent fasting, or IF, is an efficient and practical way of fasting every day while maintaining optimal performance and energy levels. There are different timetables for IF, but they all involve fasting for a set amount of time each day. I practice the 18-6 method, which is 18 hours without food and 6 hours with food. I break my fast at 1:30 p.m. each day and resume my fast at 7:30 p.m. each evening. Western culture has taught us the importance of eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We are even taught specifically how important a hearty breakfast is. The thought of actually challenging ourselves to not eat one meal a day seems unimaginable to Western society. The thought of not eating any meat or dairy products evokes a sense of panic that somehow we may become malnourished, protein deficient, or simply wither away without a trace. But when you look around, you see a society with an obesity epidemic. When you look at the diseases plaguing Western culture, they are almost entirely due to dietary habits which are too high in refined wheat flours, processed foods, sugar, saturated fats from dairy, and protein from red meat. Actually, too much food and protein are the elephant in the room nobody is speaking about. The myths of Western culture are perpetuating disease, comorbidities, and death at appalling rates. There are so many myths which simply do not serve our best health interests, nor do they give us the flexibility to choose how we want our bodies to look and feel. This is why it is so important to always think for yourself, rather than take the words of others without question. Question everything you put into your mouth with as much reverence as you would entering the doors of a sacred temple. Empower yourself through your own research. Respond to others with actual knowledge and science. We can achieve much better results and burn more calories by narrowing our feeding window of nutritious foods to lunch and dinner. Breakfast literally means the meal which breaks a fast and can be eaten anytime we choose to break our fast. During sleep, our body is fasting. When we awaken from our fast each morning, we are given a golden opportunity to build on 8 hours of fasting. We are going to use this time to extend our fast during waking hours. This will give our body the extended rest it needs to fully eliminate all we have eaten the previous day and enter the coveted fat-burning ketosis stage, which takes place after 12 hours of fasting. IF regenerates our body on a cellular level and molds it into the shape we have always wanted. I have practiced the IF program every day for the past few years. I believe it is nearly impossible to reduce fat and keep fat off without practicing IF daily. I have never felt a lightness of body and energy levels like this since I was in my 20s. It feels so cleansing, physically, mentally, and spiritually, to only drink pure water all morning long. You may think this would cause a weakness in your physical and mental energy levels during the daily fasting periods. Actually, the peak of physical and mental clarity is experienced during the fasting windows. This is the youthful, vibrant energy I want you to reclaim. Allow your digestive system time to recover, your heart to open, your blood to flow unencumbered, and the chi energy to move effortlessly throughout your channels. Visceral fat refers to the fat which is underneath the muscles and wraps around your organs. It is an especially dangerous form of fat because it can be the precursor to heart disease, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, stroke, and high cholesterol. I believe that visceral and surface layers of fat in the abdominal to pelvic regions cause atrophy, blocking the chi sexual energy and blood flow so essential for healthy erections in men and arousal in women. Intermittent fasting is the best modality to get rid of visceral fat since liposculpture cannot remove it. I believe IF is the most effective, non-invasive tool for removing and keeping off visceral and surface fat, creating the body of our dreams, and maintaining optimal health. IF allows our digestive system adequate time to rest and for our body to repair. Our body enters ketosis between 12 and 18 hours of fasting. Ketosis is a phase where our body burns fat as ketones for our fuel source instead of normal glucose metabolism. Occasionally, I push myself beyond 18 hours to the coveted 20 to 24-hour fasting range, where our cells remove damaged cellular components linked with neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. This natural cleansing process is called autophagy. It is believed that many diseases increase in frequency as we age due to decreased autophagy. When I break my fast each day, I feed my body deeply nourishing nutrients, antioxidants, adaptogens, and superfoods. I take advantage of the receptive state my body is in after fasting for 18 hours by breaking my fast with the building blocks and healing supplements my body is craving. I highly recommend for you to practice the lost art of challenging yourself. It is actually healthier for you to challenge yourself. Your body and brain are meant to be challenged. Watch the fat fall away each day you practice IF. It is a beautiful sight. Over time, you will actually feel better practicing IF, rather than exhausting your digestive capacity and energy with 3 meals per day. Our brains are quite plastic. Experience the wonders of our plastic brains and resilient bodies. Allow the natural inherent intelligence which resides within every cell of our body to fully express itself in the space of true freedom. This will bring us closer to our soul essence and to God. This allows the healing energy which flows from God and through all of our cells to do its light work. As distancing and satiety take place between partners in a relationship or marriage which has been based entirely on mating behavior, partners begin to replace the dopamine rewards of their sexual relationship with the dopamine rewards of food. The energetic highway from a man's chest to his lingam goes dormant, covered over with layers of fat as neural pathways based on food and pornography become the dominant energetic selection. I encourage you to replace those neural pathways based on food and pornography with new pathways of bonding-based intimacy and sex. Re-energize your chi sexual flow from your chest to your lingam and rid yourself of the layers of suppressing fat. Allow your balanced chi sexual energy to be your primary source of oxytocin and healthy levels of dopamine, and choke off your dopamine addiction to pornography and food. Addictions encourage further addictive behavior. Break the cycle and forge a new healthy self in body, mind, and soul. Come on, this is your life. Claim it. Seize it. Don't be afraid. Resolve to never quit. I highly recommend for you to practice IF with the 18-6 schedule every day. You will need to use your mind to train your body and brain what you want it to do. With all dopamine addictions, such as pornography, ejaculation, and food, the body and brain will do everything it can to trick you at first. The first days and weeks and even months require intense focus and discipline as your body and brain try to test your resolve. The stronger and longer the addiction, the stronger and longer it will fight you on it. Your mind and your soul are the masters of your brain and body. Through unbending discipline and consistency over time, day after day, week after week, and month after month, your brain and body will bend to the will of your soul, its great master. Your brain and body will eventually learn that it is just not ever going to get that addictive neural pathway met again. At that moment, your brain and body will go from your adversary to your ally, stepping fully in line with your soul goal. I want you to have this level of resolve so deep and determined that you teach your brain and body what you want it to transform into. It better get on board, or there will be hell to pay. Chapter 9: Cellular Intelligence and Regeneration. Intravenous or IV infusions are a highly efficient and effective delivery system for bringing nutrients, building blocks, and chelators directly to the areas of our body which need cellular healing and are starved for nutrients. IV infusions bypass the digestive tract entirely, delivering natural healing modalities to our cells in levels far above what daily oral supplementation can ever achieve. Only a fraction of the supplements we ingest orally get absorbed through our digestive tract. IV infusions deliver 100% of the nutrients, building blocks, and chelators directly to our blood and cells. This is how we allow the inherent intelligence inside of our cells to receive the building blocks they need to restore perfect balance and health to our body. This is how we create deep, transformative healing from the inside out on a cellular and mitochondrial level. IV therapy is an invaluable tool for addressing sexual dysfunction with natural, curative, and preventative medicine. Urologists searching for organic ED look at a few basic markers. They look at hormone levels, which we are addressing with pellet TRT. They look for venous leaks through an MRI. Unless you had a major impact to your pelvic region, had radical pelvic surgery, or engage in activities which place consistent long-term pressure and impacts on your Alcock's canal, this is not a likely source of organic ED. They look at your cardiovascular health or your blood flow, which is essential to an erection. This includes the important endothelial system. The endothelial system consists of a thin layer of cells inside our blood vessels, which regulates blood flow. The endothelial system works synergistically with the neurochemistry of our brain to produce nitric oxide and other complex chemistry, which is vital to producing an erection in men and arousal in women. Pharmaceutical ED drugs exclusively target the endothelial system, but do not provide long-term healing systemically. The most common source of organic ED is reduced blood flow through the blood vessels and decreased nitric oxide production. This is known as arteriosclerosis, or hardening and narrowing of the blood vessels. The following IVs work holistically to heal our endothelial and cardiovascular system at the cellular level. They provide a long-term curative and preventative solution by restoring excellent blood flow throughout our body, all the way to the smallest capillaries in our lingam. Plaque X, also known as phosphatidylcholine, or PC, is derived from soybean and delivered through IV infusion. PC makes up all of the cell membranes in our body. PC levels decline with age. By raising PC levels in our body, we bring cells back to life which have gone into dormancy. This allows our cells to metabolize and discard toxins once again. Additionally, PC is a source of choline in our body. The uptake of choline and the synthesis and release of acetylcholine plays an important role in erections. PC has the remarkable ability to remove plaque deposits from blood vessels and increase blood flow. PC balances LDL and HDL cholesterol ratios and restores total cholesterol to natural, healthy levels. It does this holistically by removing the plaque and toxins from our blood vessels and regenerating endothelial cellular function. LDL cholesterol is incorrectly referred to as bad cholesterol. LDL cholesterol is transported to our endothelial system to protect and heal oxidative damage and inflammation. LDL acts as an antioxidant, which binds to and inactivates free radical damage, as well as a broad range of microorganisms and their toxins. Cholesterol is essential to a healthy immune system. The liver produces cholesterol in higher levels whenever our body needs protection and healing from harmful threats to our endothelial system. Cholesterol-lowering drugs, such as statins, interfere with our body's ability to produce cholesterol. The latest research has shown a significant increase in cancers with patients taking cholesterol-lowering drugs. For decades, Western medical institutions and pharmaceutical industries have assumed that total cholesterol, or TC, and LDL cholesterol are the primary causes of arteriosclerosis and cardiovascular disease. Studies now show that high LDL cholesterol is not associated with mortality from cardiovascular disease in elderly. Rather, it is low LDL levels which are associated with mortalities from cardiovascular disease and cancer. High LDL and TC levels are created by our liver to protect against myocardial infarction and cancer. Many cancers are now believed to be caused by viruses, which LDL cholesterol protects us from. Actually, high triglyceride levels are a better indicator of mortality from cardiovascular disease. Lipitor, a cholesterol-lowering drug, is the best-selling pharmaceutical drug in history. Western medical institutions and the pharmaceutical industry are making billions of dollars prescribing cholesterol-lowering drugs. Not only do they fail to resolve the underlying source of the problem, but they also actually place patients at increased risk of mortality from cardiovascular disease and cancers. Western medicine has failed to make the causal connection to the true source of arteriosclerosis, which is free radical damage from toxic heavy metals, an animal-based diet, environmental pollutants, and smoking. They are adding salt to the wounds by taking away the body's only source of protection against free radicals, which is cholesterol. Plaquex IV therapy, when used with EDTA IV therapy, provides a natural and highly effective way to resolve the underlying source of arteriosclerosis. EDTA is a chelation IV therapy. Chelation is the process of removing toxic heavy metals from our body. Some metals serve as essential components for our health, while others are serious toxins. Toxic heavy metals, such as lead, are so poisonous that they should not even be in our body at all. We are exposed to toxic heavy metals daily and throughout our lifetime. Heavy metal ions are stored in our bones, visceral organs, and neural tissue indefinitely, where they leach out of our body for the duration of our lives. The latest research has discovered that heavy metals in the blood vessels play a major role in the formation of arteriosclerosis. Arteriosclerosis is now believed to be an inflammatory disease rather than solely a fat-blocking disease. These toxic metals evoke a major inflammatory reaction as our body attempts to cover up the heavy metals with cholesterol and calcium. This calcium buffer hardens over time. Arteriosclerosis is actually our body's only mode of protection from these highly damaging foreign intruders. However, this does not rule out an unhealthy diet high in saturated fats and free radical toxins as an additional major contributor to arteriosclerosis. Our body does not know how to process these foreign heavy metal objects, since they were never found inside of our body ancestrally. We end up with a toxic conglomeration of heavy metals, cholesterol, and calcification coating our blood vessels. This protective coating chokes our blood flow and blocks our endothelial layer from producing healthy levels of nitric oxide and other complex chemical processes needed for producing erections. Directly increasing nitric oxide levels is the major pathway used by the massive multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry to create an erection. But this is not addressing the source of decreased nitric oxide levels in the first place. The real reason nitric oxide levels have decreased is because the cardiovascular and endothelial systems cannot function properly due to arteriosclerosis. The arteriosclerosis is caused by heavy metals and animal-based toxins acting as damaging free radicals, creating oxidation and inflammation throughout our endothelial system. Other sources of free radicals in our body come from smoking, industrial chemicals, and pollutants. Pharmaceutical ED drugs must be taken each time an erection is needed because they are bypassing a curative long-term solution and the true source of the symptoms. Debilitating side effects occur as a result of rapid changes in blood flow throughout our body. These drugs work outside of our normal range of blood flow, which our cardiovascular and endothelial systems are capable of producing in its current state. Rather than bypassing our current state and forcing a short-term solution, we should see our current state as a warning sign that a deeper issue is causing this, which must be transformed on a holistic, systemic level. Side effects are a sign that a symptom-based, short-term solution is overriding and bypassing natural, holistic solutions, which are curative and long-term. Side effects are a sign of an unsustainable, nearsighted approach. Antioxidants provide an alternative, curative pathway for restoring nitric oxide levels indirectly, holistically, and without side effects. Heavy metals and other damaging toxins from animal-based foods and the environment act as free radicals which ravage our endothelial system, decreasing our nitric oxide production. Antioxidants scavenge these harmful free radicals, thereby eliminating the threat to our endothelial system and restoring nitric oxide levels holistically. Glutathione IV, a peptide found in every cell of our body, is known as the master antioxidant and the mother of all antioxidants. Glutathione reverses endothelial dysfunction and improves nitric oxide availability. Poly-MVA IV is another powerful antioxidant, which consists primarily of lipoic acid. Utilizing these antioxidant IVs, along with daily oral antioxidant supplements, is a highly effective way to restore nitric oxide levels naturally, systemically, and without side effects. Calcium EDTA and disodium EDTA are two separate forms of EDTA which address arteriosclerosis in very similar ways. Calcium EDTA and disodium EDTA are infused separately. They are very effective at breaking apart arteriosclerosis by chelating the lead and toxic heavy metals which are the source of arteriosclerosis and the calcification which hardens over the heavy metals. As the final partner in the perfect trifecta, Plaque X removes the cholesterol portion of the arteriosclerosis. I do not take any supplements or IVs containing minerals the day of the chelation IV therapy. I want the chelation to focus on removing existing lead, other harmful heavy metals, and calcium deposits. I schedule the Myers cocktail with minerals and amino acids for the next day after chelation therapy to replace minerals, nutrients, and building blocks. DMSA is an oral chelator which primarily chelates lead from the soft tissues, while calcium EDTA IV primarily chelates lead from the bones. Oral DMSA should be taken the same day as calcium EDTA IV to help reduce blood serum levels of lead, as well as reduce the chance of lead redistribution into the brain. Warning: disodium EDTA and calcium EDTA are not the same and must not be confused by the clinic administering them. Disodium EDTA must be slow dripped in a 1-liter fluid bolus. Its effectiveness at removing calcifications can overwhelm the kidneys if it is fast dripped with a smaller 500 milliliter fluid bolus. Misidentification, administering disodium EDTA too fast, or using the incorrect fluid bolus can result in serious illness or even death. Disodium EDTA is completely safe when identified and administered correctly. This chelation therapy has been safely used for decades. It is important that you double-check with your clinic to ensure they will identify and administer it correctly. I have had 50 infusions each of both forms of EDTA. I made sure the clinic identified disodium EDTA correctly before administering it in the correct 1-liter fluid bolus. Disodium EDTA is an invaluable tool for reducing and eliminating arteriosclerosis in combination with calcium EDTA and Plaque X, making an effective triad. Anytime that intravenous injections are used, whether in a hospital or for holistic IV therapy, there is always a risk for bacterial infection to enter our bloodstream. Septic shock can be fatal if not treated. For this reason, I strongly recommend using a naturopath doctor with their own rigorous sanitation protocol to administer the IV themselves. Naturopath doctors are trained in the intricacies of osmolarity, rate of flow, solution mixing, and which solutions can be used on the same day. Not all naturopathic, sexual, and holistic health clinics have disodium EDTA, calcium EDTA, and Plaque X. They will be able to order it if they do not have all of them. You may have to search in your general area, but the effort is definitely worth it. If you have arteriosclerosis, I highly recommend for your sexual and overall health that you utilize these IVs weekly for a full course of each. The negative effects of arteriosclerosis will show up first in the smallest blood vessels, which is the lingam. After a full course, you can reduce each treatment to every other week for maintenance, and further reduce to monthly maintenance longer term. For more severe arteriosclerosis, longer treatment protocols will correspond. You can utilize ultrasounds to check if you have arteriosclerosis and gauge how well it is being removed. The FDA, mainstream Western medical institutions, and pharmaceutical companies will try to scare you and dismiss the effectiveness of these IV modalities. The blood pressure medications and bypass surgeries which they promote pose the actual danger and are entirely ineffective at resolving the underlying issue. The problem is that these 3 IVs do not provide as much of a lucrative income model for these powerful institutions and companies. They make too much money prescribing pharmaceuticals and performing surgeries for arteriosclerosis. EDTA and Plaque X infusions work synergistically and naturally to remove the stubborn conglomeration of heavy metal, cholesterol, and calcified deposits which form arteriosclerosis. Mainstream Western medical institutions and pharmaceutical companies, in their narrow focus on short-term and invasive approaches to symptoms, have developed billion-dollar industries around expensive and dangerous surgeries and drugs to alleviate the symptoms of arteriosclerosis without ever resolving and eliminating the underlying source of the symptom. One exhaustive research study looked at 22,765 patients treated with a full intravenous course of disodium EDTA. 87% of the patients showed marked improvement in vascular disease. It was estimated that in 1991, when this research was conducted, that 363,000 of the 407,000 bypass surgeries performed that year could have been entirely avoided if all patients received disodium EDTA treatments, saving more than $8 billion. How many needless surgeries are performed, billions of dollars wasted, and lives lost every single year due to the blind and stubborn adherence of mainstream Western medical institutions to their drastic, short-sighted, and greedy practices. The trial to assess chelation therapy, or TACT, was first trialed in 2012 as TACT-1. A 51% reduction in cardiac events and 43% reduction in mortality was found in patients with diabetes after a full course treatment with disodium EDTA. These dramatic results spurred the TACT-2 trial, which is current and ongoing. The results of TACT-1 showed that a full course of disodium EDTA was able to reverse and reduce arteriosclerosis and cardiovascular events naturally and non-invasively. Despite this study, mainstream Western medicine, institutions, and pharmaceutical conglomerates continue to deny the results of this study. The FDA has even interfered at times by attempting to make Plaque X and EDTA harder for clinics to obtain. I believe the FDA is in the back pockets of these powerful medical institutions, hospitals, pharmaceutical, and insurance corporations. The healthcare, pharmaceutical, and insurance industries are some of the most lucrative and powerful industries in the United States and the world. The insurance industry selects the treatments they will cover, which are pharmaceutical and surgical. Preventative, curative, and affordable holistic treatments simply do not profit these massive corporate conglomerates. I believe the FDA makes unethical legal decisions which negatively targets alternative clinics and healing modalities in favor of mainstream Western medical practices and pharmaceuticals. This should not come as a surprise in the pay-to-play corporatocracy of America, where government laws all too often favor corporate powers over the welfare of the people. The problem is that these are our lives and rights they are playing with. There is blood on their hands. They do not have any right to make decisions on how to heal patients based on money and politics. Science should make the decisions. I decided to do my own study of EDTA and Plaque X on myself. At the time, my Western medical doctor and institution told me that they would not allow me to have an ultrasound taken of my arteries unless I showed serious symptoms, even if I paid out of pocket. This clearly shows that Western medicine does not have any will or financial incentive to practice holistic, curative, and preventative research and healing modalities, even when the patient requests it. However, I was able to perform the ultrasound with the cardiology office for $500. I discontinued my membership with my Western medical institution after this experience and switched over to a naturopathic health clinic. I had an ultrasound taken of my aortic and carotid arteries before and after starting a full course of 40 Plaque X, 40 calcium EDTA, and 40 disodium EDTA IVs. My ultrasound taken before I started the IVs showed mild calcification and plaque buildup in both my carotid and aortic arteries. My ultrasound taken after I finished the IVs could not find any plaque or calcification in my arteries. I had literally removed the arteriosclerosis from my blood vessels. When combining with EPAT, which breaks up plaque and calcium blocks in the mons pubis, lingam, and supporting blood vessels, we can now remove blood vessel blockages from the inside out and outside in. This is massive. Plaque X and EDTA IVs, when used in conjunction with a healthy, transformative diet and lifestyle, can turn around any situation when it comes to ED as a result of restricted blood flow and endothelial dysfunction from arteriosclerosis. This is a natural, non-invasive healing modality which avoids the hazards of invasive surgeries and dangerous pharmaceuticals while curing the root cause of the symptoms. Surgeries can never remove the plaque and calcification from all of our blood vessels anywhere to this degree. Surgeries can only bypass arteriosclerosis. Statin blood pressure pharmaceuticals never even get at the root cause and merely suppress the symptoms. Yet mainstream Western medical institutions and pharmaceutical conglomerates hang on to these extreme measures, which enrich them to the tune of billions of dollars annually. To add insult to malpractice, they slander and sabotage these natural IV treatments and clinics who administer them, despite the overwhelming research studies and experiential evidence to prove their safety and effectiveness. Their legal cover at the FDA refuses to give their stamp of approval, because they make decisions based on the practices of these rich and powerful mega conglomerates. This is where I believe these powerful Western medical institutions and pharmaceutical industries put their own greedy and powerful self-interests ahead of the safest, least painful, and most effective cure for the people. They do not care if you suffer with ineffective, dangerous surgeries and languish in pain from pharmaceutical side effects. I am sorry to tell you that they do not even care if you die. They are covering up the safe and painless cures with their dangerous and painful temporary fixes. In so many ways, mainstream Western medicine is a system entirely based on the temporary treatment of symptoms, with no will and capability to focus on prevention and core solutions. Chapter 10: Building Blocks. Stem cell therapy is a natural form of regenerative medicine, which harvests the mesenchymal stem cells, or MSC, from the fat of our own body, or the Wharton's jelly found in human umbilical cords. MSC contains cell messengers, proteins, hormone-like substances, microvesicles, exosomes, and immunomodulatory substances. Stem cell therapy gives us the ability to heal damage or weaknesses which may be contributing to organic erectile dysfunction, as well as grow new cells and blood vessels for improved sexual function. Stem cell therapy, as commonly practiced in sexual health clinics, combines Wharton's jelly with our own platelet-rich plasma, or PRP. PRP is obtained by taking our own blood and spinning it in a centrifuge for approximately 15 minutes until it yields a golden nectar. PRP is rich in growth and healing factors and has the ability to both increase stem cells as well as guide stem cells to locations needing healing. The stem cells and PRP are placed in the same vial and then injected into the corpus cavernosum, which is the spongy tissue of our lingam that fills with blood when we get an erection. Stem cell secretome, or SCS, therapy is the cutting edge of stem cell therapy. Rather than injecting the MSC from Wharton's jelly directly into our corpus cavernosum, the secretome is taken from the MSC and grown to 10 times the potency levels in a laboratory before being injected intracavenously and intravenously. Stem cells are used by our body wherever it needs repair and new growth for optimal performance. This really is the fountain of youth and an exceptional tool for curing organic ED naturally and holistically. Inova Institute for Regenerative Medicine in Frankfurt, Germany, is one of the only places in the world which has isolated the vesicles, protein molecules, cytokines, and other substances secreted by the MSC cells. They have discovered that it is the secretome released by the MSC cells, not the actual MSC cells themselves, which produces the regenerative healing inside of our body. Stem cell secretome can be administered both intracavenously and intravenously to heal organic forms of erectile dysfunction on a cellular level, using the latest in regenerative medicine. Triaminos are usually added to Meyer's cocktail IVs. Triaminos refers to the 3 amino acids which are necessary for ideal blood flow to the sexual organs. Our cells utilize the 3 amino acids L-arginine, L-citrulline, and L-ornithine as needed in all areas of our body, including our sexual organs and reproductive system. NAD, or nicotinamide adenine, is a natural coenzyme found in all of our living cells and often referred to as the anti-aging molecule. As we age, our body generates decreasing levels of this valuable coenzyme. Used as an IV, NAD is an important tool for holistic healing on a cellular level. NAD regenerates cells, increases energy, boosts metabolism, slows aging, reduces internal inflammation, promotes healthy brain function, and fights chronic fatigue. There is evidence that NAD can regenerate brain receptors, such as dopamine receptors, damaged by addictions. Studies have shown that NAD deficiency in the endothelial system of aging men and women is connected to vascular dysfunction. NAD IVs are an excellent tool to help rewire from neurological ED and rebuild on a cellular level from organic ED. Poly-MVA is an IV blend made up primarily of lipoic acid, a powerful antioxidant. Antioxidants scavenge free radicals, prevent inflammation, and promote healthy cell regeneration. This is another anti-aging IV, which generates energy on a cellular level. Poly-MVA is also being used with immense success for cancer treatments due to its ability to cause cancer cell death while protecting normal cells in the body. Meyer's cocktail with amino acids is a blend of B vitamins, magnesium, calcium, vitamin C, and minerals. I add the triamino blend along with a full range of essential, non-essential, and branched chain amino acids to the Meyer's cocktail. This IV blend strengthens the immune system and nourishes the body on a cellular level. My own immune system experienced a quantum leap in health with Meyer's cocktail IVs. When combined with triaminos, as well as other essential and non-essential aminos, such as taurine, carnitine, and lysine, this IV blend provides the building blocks necessary for optimal blood flow and functioning of the lingam and sexual organs. High doses of vitamin C in Meyer's cocktail are used for cancer treatments due to its healing qualities as a powerful antioxidant. I recommend for you to start with IVs weekly for 6 to 12 months, at which point a blood test and ultrasound can give you an image of your progress towards optimal health. When you feel that you have reached optimal health through the use of IVs, you can eventually move on to a maintenance schedule of IVs over time. Incorporating regular IVs into your schedule is an invaluable modality for bringing your body, sexual organs, and brain function up to their optimal performance levels. Chapter 11: Intelligent Supplements. This chapter contains a list of oral supplements which I have researched over many years. These supplements support our goal of sexual health and overall health of our body. They do this by providing the building blocks and tools necessary for our body to utilize its inherent intelligence in restoring health to our sexual organs and whole body systems on a curative and preventative level without side effects. The following is a list of powerful antioxidants I take daily. All of these antioxidant supplements work in different ways to target and eliminate free radicals, which are the cause of oxidation and reduced nitric oxide production in our endothelial system. Utilizing a diversity of antioxidants is necessary in combating free radicals throughout our body, since each antioxidant has its own unique mode of action. Pycnogenol, or French maritime pine bark extract, by Biogena, is a very powerful super antioxidant. I saw a significant increase in my sexual function after taking pycnogenol. One study showed a 45% improvement in erectile function and 20% reduction in LDL cholesterol in patients with ED and diabetes supplementing with pycnogenol. A separate study showed pycnogenol improved blood flow by 42%. Another study, which included healthy eating and exercise with pycnogenol supplementation, improved endothelial function by 66%. Pycnogenol has been studied for the past 35 years in 220 published studies and review articles, showing its safety and efficacy. These studies have consistently shown that daily supplementation with pycnogenol improves the symptoms of erectile dysfunction and its underlying conditions, such as high LDL cholesterol, inflammation, and arteriosclerosis. Pycnogenol has been remarkably effective at reversing erectile dysfunction in those with diabetes. I believe pycnogenol should be the #1 oral supplement in our cabinet for our sexual and overall health. Pycnogenol does not cause any side effects, even though it increases blood flow. I believe this is because of its diverse, holistic, curative, and protective modes of action. It does not solely boost nitric oxide as its only mode of action. Rather than override what our endothelial system is currently capable of producing with a short-term nitric oxide boost, pycnogenol heals the very source of our nitric oxide dysfunction, sustainably bringing our endothelial system back to health from multiple holistic approaches. Pycnogenol checks all the boxes for a holistic, long-term, curative, protective, and preventative approach to the health of our endothelial system. It eliminates free radicals, reduces inflammation, reduces LDL cholesterol, normalizes blood pressure, improves blood vessel function, and reverses arteriosclerosis. It increases blood flow and nitric oxide production intelligently through the holistic process of healing and protecting the endothelial system. It allows the inherent intelligence and regenerative power of our body to restore perfect balance. Pycnogenol encapsulates the natural, holistic, curative, and preventative approaches I have been discussing in this book in one daily pill without any side effects. The next intelligence supplement I want to suggest is Ancestral Supplements Male Optimization Formula. There is also a female enhancement mixture for women. I noticed a big shift in my libido and sexual function, as well as overall better sleep, energy levels, and moods after taking this product. Ancestral Supplements sources grass-fed bovine organs from the pristine and pure environment of New Zealand, where they are freeze-dried into capsules. Bovine organs are the superfoods of the animal body. They are powerhouses of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, peptides, polypeptides, growth factors, enzymes, and signaling molecules, which have been shown in studies to go directly to our own corresponding organs for transformative and regenerative healing. As a vegan, I was reluctant at first to take this product, but the medicinal value is so potent and effective, I decided to take it daily, with a prayer offering for the sacrifice these animals of purity, vitality, love, and light have provided for my healing. I promise each day to give this light and love back to others. Organic Black Maca by Vigorex contains organic black maca root. Maca is an adaptogen which does not overstimulate our body. Adaptogens normalize systems which are out of balance and provide restorative healing where and when it is needed in our hormonal, nervous, cardiovascular, and neurological systems. Maca greatly benefits our libido, sexual function, and fertility. One study showed a significant increase in erectile function after 12 weeks of maca supplementation. Age-Lock Vitality by Pharmanex contains cordyceps, Asian ginseng, and pomegranate. These adaptogens have been used since ancient times in Eastern medicine for increased sexual function and restoration of chi sexual energy, which has become depleted with age and excessive masturbation to pornography for years. The ginsenosides found in Asian ginseng have been shown to increase nitric oxide production, increase blood circulation, moderate blood pressure, balance cholesterol levels, as well as regulate and protect endothelial cells. The antioxidants in ginseng protect against cardiovascular disease and myocardial infarction. Cordyceps is a rare mushroom which grows in the high altitudes of the Himalayan plateau. Its most vital active ingredient is cordycepin, a powerful antioxidant, anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antifungal, and anti-cancer. Cordyceps balances cholesterol levels and protects against cardiovascular disease. Studies have shown cordycepin increases sexual function, recovers sex hormone balance, and ameliorates age-related male sexual dysfunction. Arterosil by BioT contains the Monostroma species of green seaweed, as well as other vegetables and fruits. The Monostroma species of green seaweed has been shown to help protect and rebuild our endothelial layer inside of our blood vessels, which is responsible for nitric oxide production. It has also been shown to improve vascular dysfunction, lower LDL cholesterol, triglycerides, and glucose levels, protect from viruses, and prolong life expectancy. Rhamnin sulfate, the polysaccharide which has been isolated in the Monostroma species of seaweed, is a potent antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and antiviral, which exerts anticoagulant activity inside of our endothelial system. Fucoidan powered by AHCC by Nature Medic contains Mozuku and Mikabu fucoidan, which are two types of brown algae. It also contains organic active hexose correlated compound, or AHCC, which is mycelial extract from Basidiomycetes mushrooms. AHCC contains polysaccharides which have immune-stimulating effects and work synergistically with fucoidan. Numerous studies on fucoidan have shown its therapeutic activity as an immunoregulatory, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-tumor, anticoagulant, and antiviral. Fucoidan has been shown to significantly lower total cholesterol, triglycerides, and LDL cholesterol levels, raise HDL cholesterol, and reduce arteriosclerosis. Pine pollen by Sun Potion is a potent adaptogenic superfood and aphrodisiac, which increases libido, supports healthy circulation, and provides hormonal support through all 5 meridians of our body, for men and women. Pine pollen has been used for thousands of years for its anti-aging qualities. Studies have shown pine pollen powder significantly delays the aging process and age-related diseases through its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory actions on a cellular level. Bee pollen has been used since ancient times to enhance libido, boost energy, and benefit sexual health. Bee pollen has been shown in studies to act as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antifungal, antimicrobial, anti-cancer, and immune stimulant. Studies have shown bee pollen is successful in reducing arteriosclerosis, improving blood flow, lowering cholesterol by 20 to 30%, and reducing blood platelet clumping by 30%. Bee pollen is composed of approximately 250 biologically active substances, which include proteins, amino acids, enzymes, coenzymes, lipids, including essential fatty acids, vitamins, flavonoids, and nutrients. 2 teaspoons of bee pollen contain 5 billion individual flower pollen grains, which takes a single bee 2 months to obtain, working 8 hours per day. Look for organic local bee pollen. It should be soft, colorful, aromatic, and flavorful. If it is hard, crunchy, and dull in aroma and flavor, it does not carry the same healing properties. I use Living Tree Community Foods California bee pollen. Astaxanthin is a rare carotenoid found in microalgae. This is one of the most powerful antioxidants found in nature. Studies have shown astaxanthin improves blood flow and reduces arteriosclerosis. Astaxanthin acts as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, neuroprotectant, cardioprotectant, and immune stimulant. The brand by Naomi contains 3 times the amount of astaxanthin found in other brands. It is organically grown in the very favorable conditions of Israel. AgeLock Youth by Pharmanex is an advanced anti-aging supplement which revitalizes our defense mechanisms against aging. The ingredients in AgeLock Youth are found in diets all over the world, which are well known for their health benefits. The ingredients include fish oil, EPA, DHA, citrus bioflavonoids, purple corn cob extract, alpha-lipoic acid, resveratrol from Japanese knotweed, and CoQ10. AgeLock Youth acts as an antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory, as well as provides cellular protection and repair, detoxification, metabolism regulation, and tissue renewal. Meriva SF by Thorne contains Meriva, a curcumin with 29 times greater absorption than other curcumins on the market. Curcumin has been used as a food ingredient in Asia for thousands of years and is the major polyphenol found in turmeric. Curcumin acts as a potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, as well as an immune stimulant, antidepressant, anti-tumor, neuroprotective, tissue protective, antimicrobial, and a metabolism regulator. Boswellia by Himalaya contains the resin of frankincense, an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. Studies have shown Boswellia acts as an anti-tumor, antibacterial, antiseptic, anti-anxiety, and antineurotic. Resveratrol by Thorne contains nicotinamide riboside, a precursor to NAD, along with resveratrol, quercetin, and betaine. Resveratrol, the natural polyphenol found in red wine and other sources, has been shown in studies to act as a very powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, as well as protect against cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative disease, cancers, and viruses. Resveratrol has also been shown in one study to reverse erectile dysfunction from diabetes and is commonly used in the treatment of diabetic patients. Transresveratrol, the active ingredient in resveratrol, has been shown in another study to relax the corpus cavernosum with its vasorelaxant properties, enhance testosterone levels, and increase sperm quality. Vinia by BioHarvest contains 6 milligrams of piceid, a precursor to resveratrol, in a 400 milligram capsule. Clinical trials have shown 4.92 milligrams of piceid resveratrol from one capsule is readily absorbed into our intestinal tract, which is the equivalent of eating 1,000 grapes. Studies have shown a 70% increase in the dilation of arteries after 12 weeks. Piceid resveratrol prevents disease formation processes such as LDL oxidation in arteriosclerosis and cardiovascular disease, as well as inflammatory responses underlying chronic diseases such as cancer and diabetes. Because resveratrol already contains resveratrol, I do not recommend taking Vinia in addition to resveratrol. Extra virgin olive oil contains hydroxytyrosol and oleuropein. These polyphenol molecules scavenge free radicals, inhibit LDL oxidation, decrease inflammation, and cause cancer cell death. High polyphenol extra virgin olive oil should be added to our diets in place of saturated fats. Support organic farms who can verify their polyphenol levels. I grow and cold press organic high polyphenol COOC certified extra virgin olive oil on my organic farm, Gold Ridge Organic Farms, located in Sebastopol, California. I sell commercially from my web store at www.goldridgeorganicfarms.com and through select purveyors. Synergy Vitamin D3 plus K2 plus CoQ10 by Symbiotica contains vitamins D3 and K2, which have been shown to benefit cardiovascular and bone health. Studies have shown the synergistic effect of using vitamins D and K together for increased cardiovascular health compared to using vitamin D or K alone. Supplementing with vitamin D alone has been shown to increase calcium deposits in our vascular tissue instead of in our bones, due to the absence of sufficient vitamin K to activate vitamin K-dependent proteins, stimulate bone mineralization, and inhibit soft tissue calcification. This results in increased risk of arteriosclerosis, osteoporosis, and myocardial infarction. Vitamin D is extremely important for our immune system health and is highly effective at protecting from COVID-19, flus, and colds. I highly recommend taking a balanced vitamin D and K supplement for increased cardiovascular, bone, and immune system health, but advise against taking vitamin D without vitamin K. CoQ10, or coenzyme Q10, is a naturally occurring quinone produced in our body and is essential for the health of all human tissues and organs. CoQ10 is one of the most significant lipid antioxidants for the prevention of free radicals. Decreased levels of CoQ10 have been linked with increased risk of developing neurodegenerative, mitochondrial, and muscular diseases, as well as diabetes, cancer, and heart failure. Statin drugs block our body's ability to produce CoQ10. Supplementing with CoQ10 has been shown in studies to reduce the symptoms and incidences of major cardiovascular events. CoQ10 increases the production of key antioxidants, reduces vascular oxidative stress, enhances blood flow, and preserves nitric oxide function. CoQ10 improves endothelial function, decreases penile plaque size, and improves erectile function. Thorn amino complex powder contains a comprehensive blend of essential amino acids, including branched-chain amino acids. Our body uses these essential amino acids as building blocks to make other amino acids. Heart Greens by Human N increases nitric oxide levels and supports healthy circulation. I have found that daily supplementation with Heart Greens does not cause any side effects from raising nitric oxide levels beyond what I am capable of producing in my current range. I add plant-based protein powder, pine pollen, Heart Greens, and amino complex powder to my water every day in the recommended dosage. Be careful with direct nitric oxide boosters as a daily supplement, even from natural sources such as arginine, beets, or herbal supplements. They can raise your nitric oxide levels too high, causing side effects from rapid changes in blood pressure. I advise against daily oral arginine or citrulline supplementation. Chronic oral arginine supplementation may cause a sudden drop in blood pressure. The weekly triamino IV provides the right amount of arginine and citrulline necessary for optimal sexual blood flow. There is no need for daily arginine or citrulline supplementation in addition to the weekly triamino IVs. Nitric oxide levels decline with age, which is correlated with a significantly increased risk of cardiovascular disease, hypertension, diabetes, and endothelial dysfunction. Returning nitric oxide levels to its healthy range is our goal. However, directly raising nitric oxide levels with boosters is a short-term approach to raising nitric oxide levels, pushing beyond the current healthy range our body is capable of producing naturally from within. There is a fine line between raising your nitric oxide levels within current healthy range and exceeding that range. The triamino IV, which is added to the Myers cocktail blend, contains the amino acids arginine, citrulline, and ornithine. I also add the amino acids carnitine, taurine, lysine, as well as all of the essential amino acids and branched-chain amino acids to the IV blend. Employing a balanced diversity of amino acids, rather than overloading with specific amino acids like arginine and citrulline, avoids side effects. When we give our body the full range of building blocks it needs, it will use its inherent intelligence and regenerative power to fulfill its mandate of perfect balance and health. Supplementing daily with antioxidants and adaptogens, along with the weekly amino acid and antioxidant IVs, provides the building blocks necessary for optimal sexual function. This protocol works within our current range of nitric oxide production, without the side effects of daily nitric oxide boosters. Pharmaceutical ED drugs exclusively target the nitric oxide production pathway. These drugs bypass the underlying source of the problem by directly boosting nitric oxide levels and forcing an erection. The problem is that our body is a complete organism and cannot be compartmentalized into simply the lingam. These ED drugs increase nitric oxide levels artificially to all the parts of our body, including the brain. This results in the side effects so commonly reported by most ED drug users, such as headaches, disturbed vision, fatigue, anxiety, confusion, and body aches. Additionally, these ED drugs do not even work for a significant percentage of men. My approach is to empower our body to produce nitric oxide when and where it needs it, and allow our inherent intelligence, the opportunity to do what it knows best, rather than forcing what we think is best on our body. Our body knows better than us and simply needs the building blocks and healthy habits. The weekly Myers cocktail IV with triaminos and the full range of amino acids gives our body the amino acids necessary for applying them when and where it needs them for increased nitric oxide production, without overwhelming our entire system with nitric oxide inducers. Daily pycnogenol supplementation works holistically and indirectly to increase nitric oxide levels through its powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory modes of action, while reversing the main cause, which is arteriosclerosis. Studies have shown that the combination of the amino acids arginine and citrulline with pycnogenol causes a significant improvement in sexual function in men with ED. After 3 months of arginine and pycnogenol supplementation, 92.5% of men had normal erectile function restored. Antioxidants and the amino acids arginine and citrulline have a synergistic, beneficial effect on the endothelial system and nitric oxide production. Antioxidants provide a more holistic and direct approach to healthy nitric oxide levels by targeting free radicals, which harm our body's ability to naturally and intelligently produce nitric oxide. Amino acids and antioxidants allow our body to naturally cure the core issues rather than force a bypass of the underlying cause. Relying on the natural God-given intelligence of our body rather than imposing our own foreign intelligence avoids side effects. Employing long-term patient approaches and holistic healing modalities within our body's current state of health and capabilities avoids side effects. Adaptogens such as black maca, pine pollen, Asian ginseng, and cordyceps mushrooms provide building blocks and tools for our body to adapt to what it needs. All the modalities in my book embody the philosophy of allowing our body to heal itself intelligently, naturally, and holistically without side effects. I advise you to add any new product into your body by using a step-up process. You start below the recommended dose and slowly add more once you see it does not cause any side effects to your body. Follow the recommended dosages. Only add one new supplement at a time to better track how your body reacts to the new supplement. When starting any new IV or supplement, you may experience what is called a healing crisis. This is a naturopathic and holistic medical term which refers to the process whereby your body experiences a temporary worsening of symptoms during the initial stage of adding a new healing modality, IV, or supplement, but disappears once your body detoxifies, reaches balance, and improves in health. Always drink plenty of pure filtered water throughout the day and evening. Pure water is so powerful. Notice how your energy levels receive an enormous boost after drinking water. Maintaining an optimal hydration level is beneficial for sexual performance. Avoid plastic bottled water. Plastic bottled water contains hundreds of microplastic particles per bottle, which are known carcinogens and endocrine disruptors. Additionally, heavy metals are used as additives in the production of plastics and are able to enter our body through microplastics. These plastic particles are so small, they are able to pass through cell membranes and the blood-brain barrier, where they are difficult to remove. Studies have shown that microplastics act as free radicals, which cause oxidative stress in our blood vessels and increase the prevalence of cardiovascular disease, arteriosclerosis, hypertension, stroke, and heart failure. This is another massive experiment on the health of the global population. The plastic industry has created a health hazard, which affects the health of our planet's inhabitants, as well as the health of our oceans. An estimated 10 million metric tons of plastics are released into our oceans every year, where they form enormous plastic gyres the size of entire states, are ingested by marine life, and are passed up the food chain to humans. Chapter 12. The Toxic Masculinity Epidemic. Western culture embodies many of the traits associated with masculinity, such as independence, rationality, practicality, and the ability to compartmentalize. The settling of the New World by Europeans and the infancy of a new cultural beginning fostered these traits. A nation founded by the forced removal of native cultures and the enslavement of other human beings was conducive to male insensitivity and lack of empathy. Western culture's emphasis on reductive analysis and industrialized compartmentalization, to the detriment of holistic, connective, and intuitive vision, has solidified a masculine mentality. Western culture is clearly a male-dominant society where men feel entitled to serve themselves first and women are not honored equally for their invaluable contributions and sacred qualities. I believe this male energy imbalance has led to a lack of true connection, intimacy, and communication in relationships, and a reductive objectification of women through pornography. Women have been reduced to sexualized body parts, with the sacred person and soul extracted from the transaction. The masculinity displayed today by the men in Western culture has reached toxic levels. Toxic masculinity is a term which refers to men who have not developed a balance of healthy masculine and feminine energies in their lives. All men may have varying degrees of toxic masculinity. Some display little to none, while others may exhibit extreme levels of toxicity. Toxic masculine energy has grown disproportionately out of balance in a desperate call to be seen and heard by all. Extreme masculine displays of toxic behavior arise from a deep-seated need for respect of the little boy inside, who is lacking empowerment from within. This may be a cry to finally be seen or heard by a father figure who was abusive, disempowering, emotionally manipulative, unavailable, or never truly allowed the vulnerable heart of the young boy to be expressive and accepted. Experts believe that some psychological pathologies, such as borderline high conflict personalities, for example, are formed as emotional defense mechanisms. This is believed to be a trauma response developed during the most formative years, at approximately 3 years of age, as a way of getting the emotional needs met. These trauma responses can last for a lifetime if never addressed, and seriously compromise future relationships. Physical and psychological addictions, including pornography, are believed to stem from these underlying traumas and imbalances. I believe there are additional serious underlying reasons for the pervasive display of toxic masculine behavior in Western culture today. In addition to the cultural and familial factors, I believe there may be a serious organic factor contributing to toxic masculine behavior. Lead and other heavy metals are poisonous to our bodies, causing mood imbalances such as anger, fatigue, confusion, depression, and physical damage such as arteriosclerosis, illness, disease, and even death in elevated levels. Dementia and other neurodegenerative diseases, as well as many psychological diagnoses, share the same symptoms as those of heavy metal toxicity, even in normal high levels. These toxic heavy metals are pervasive in modern infrastructure. They are found in our water, air, soil, and materials. For example, homes built before 1986 are more likely to have lead pipes, solder, and fixtures. In the United States alone, approximately 200,000 tons of lead per year are released through vehicle exhaust. Approximately 2,220 tons of mercury are emitted into the environment each year, entirely from human sources. Pollution is the largest environmental cause of disease in the world today and is responsible for an estimated 9 million deaths per year. I had elevated levels of lead and other heavy metals, which caused irritability, anger, confusion, mood imbalance, fatigue, illness, and mild arteriosclerosis. I have never found the source of my lead exposure. I believe it came from old metal water pipes and vehicle pollution. After years of chelation IV therapy, I am still chelating lead and dangerous heavy metals such as cadmium, aluminum, tin, uranium, and arsenic from my bones and soft tissue. Provocation tests which are used to gauge current heavy metal levels in our body, can only provide a snapshot. We can never know the true depth to which we store heavy metals in our body. When I took my full course of calcium EDTA chelation IVs, my anger, irritability, confusion, moodiness, and fatigue disappeared. I returned to a normalcy of mood and energy levels, which was foreign to me after so many years and decades of lead and heavy metal exposure. The heavy weight I felt hanging over me was replaced by a feeling of lightness and clarity in my body, mind, and soul. Low levels of blood serum testosterone in men have also been linked with irritability, moodiness, lack of mental clarity, and fatigue, as well as decreased sexual performance and libido. This is referred to as irritable male syndrome, or IMS. Men go through andropause, just as women go through menopause. We have a generation of aging men who have built up a lifetime of toxic lead and heavy metal exposure and have declining testosterone levels. I believe there may be millions of men exhibiting symptoms of lead and heavy metal exposure combined with low testosterone levels. I do not believe men can easily overcome these debilitating and overwhelming symptoms without treatment. I believe these underlying physical symptoms add to the historical and familial sources of male imbalance, creating an epidemic of toxic masculinity in our society. Aging men urgently need to restore the physical balance in their lives through TRT pellets and cleanse the soft tissues and bones of their body from lead and heavy metal exposure with chelation IV therapy. A healthy body is absolutely necessary before the balance of masculine and feminine energies can be restored at the mind and soul levels in men. When the body, mind, and soul healing modalities and practices I have shared in this book are fully embraced, toxic masculinity will fall away, to be replaced with a beautiful balance of masculine and feminine energy displays in men. A return to the ancient tenets of male chivalry in Carezza and the worship of the divine feminine in Eastern traditions can seamlessly come into balance. Once men are fully balanced, they are capable of working on a healthy, communicative, and intimate relationship with their partners, founded on the bonding lotus and a deep reverence for the blessing of the divine feminine. Final chapter, Transmutation. Permanently eliminating ejaculatory masturbation to pornography, rewiring neurologically, recovering healthy sexual chi energy, resensitizing and building a healthy, connective, and profound relationship with your partner, God, and yourself are all extremely powerful and successful neurophysical, relational, and spiritual healing modalities by themselves. A plant-based diet, intermittent fasting, bioidentical pellet testosterone replacement therapy, regularly donating blood, strength training, aerobic exercise, Kegels, chelation and antioxidant IVs, stem cells with platelet-rich plasma, extracorporeal pulse activation technology, and oral antioxidant and adaptogenic supplements are extremely successful and effective physical healing modalities by themselves. However, combining all of these healing modalities together works synergistically to create the most successful and transformative results for your sexual and overall physical health. You cannot achieve the same level of results by practicing only one or just a few of the healing modalities by themselves, because the synergistic holistic healing combination is not complete. Just as our entire body organism cannot be isolated or viewed as separate compartments, these healing modalities cannot be practiced in isolation and expect to achieve overall holistic, curative, and preventative results throughout our body, mind, heart, and soul. I highly recommend for the success of your sexual and physical health that you practice all of the healing modalities I have recommended in this book. They simply are not as effective in isolation and are meant to be combined for the optimal results of feeling, looking, and performing at the highest level God meant for you to achieve. In my book, I have shown you the concept of transmutation, both through my own journey as well as the body, mind, and soul modalities I have presented. A diagnosis of organic erectile dysfunction does not end with a lifetime subscription of pharmaceuticals and a humiliating and disempowering label of impotence or sexual dysfunction. The symptoms of erectile and sexual dysfunction are channeled and transmuted into the higher energy of God's inspiration and guidance. When you pray with every fiber of your heart and all of the energy of your soul, God will hear your prayers, and God will give you the miracle healing you are pleading for. What started as a journey for healing erectile dysfunction becomes a journey of limitless discovery, learning, growth, inspiration, and healing on all levels. What started as a focused point of dysfunction on one member of your body becomes an invaluable opportunity to heal your entire body, mind, and soul. I believe that my erectile dysfunction was a blessing, which I am so grateful I experienced. I believe that God gave me such an enormous challenge so that I would ultimately become the sovereign being God always wanted me to be, and discover the best way to build and maintain healthy relationships. I transmuted the focused, debilitating energy of erectile dysfunction into an all-inclusive healing of my entire body, mind, and soul, my relationships in life, and my relationship with life. This is the final modality I highly recommend for you to practice in your healing journey of body, mind, and soul, the spirit of transmutation. Transmutation is taking your current energy state and constantly transforming it into a higher form of energy. It is taking a symptom and finding the underlying source and cure. It is taking the chi sexual energy which has become depleted and transmuting it into healing energy for your sexual dysfunction and your entire body, mind, and soul. Transmutation is taking the lower chakra sexual energy and moving it into the heart and crown chakras. It is taking mating-based sexual goals and replacing them with the beautiful dance of bonding intimacy, sexual union, and relational connection on a spiritual level. Transmutation is taking the distancing and separation of independent, masculine mating energy and replacing it with the deeply connective and all-inclusive merging of divine masculine and divine feminine energies. Transmutation is the act of receiving the loving and nurturing energy, inspiration, limitless learning, clarity, magnetism, confidence, creativity, empowerment, and expansive growth of God, and infusing it into your body, mind, and soul. Transmutation is seeking God first, knowing all else will fall perfectly into place. It is giving up our narrow, limited focus and accepting the all-seeing eye of God and this great universe. It is relinquishing our control to the immense power of God's healing for us all. Acknowledgements. I want to thank my mom and dad for always encouraging me to follow my passion and providing so many opportunities for me to express my creativity. I want to thank Ashraya Regio for her encouragement, support, and intuitive heart-based input. I want to thank Noah Church for his invaluable coaching during my NoFap journey, his inspirational book, Whack, Addicted to Internet Porn, his videos, his unbelievable courage and story, and his leadership as one of the pioneers in the movement. I want to thank Gary Wilson for his groundbreaking scientific work in his book and website, Your Brain on Porn. My journey would not have even begun without his foundational work. Thank you for being the steward of an entire generation and beyond. Gary passed away May 20th, 2021. His contributions to millions of people will live on in his loving memory. Thank you, Gary. He is survived by his wife, Marnia Robinson, and his son, Arian Sprague. He was loved by many. I want to thank Marnia Robinson for her book, Cupid's Poisoned Arrow, which transformed my life. You have saved, deepened, and blossomed countless relationships with your work. I want to thank Alexander Rhodes for starting the NoFap movement online. You have provided invaluable support for hundreds of thousands of men and women struggling to quit their addiction to pornography. You have laid a pathway out. I have such deep gratitude to all of you. This book would not exist without you. Thank you from the deepest chamber of my heart. We have come to the end of You Are Not Broken. Thank you so much for listening. For a full list of 111 excellent references, as well as resources, please go to my website, brookehazen.com. You Are Not Broken is available in Kindle and paperback versions in English, Spanish, and Chinese at amazon.com.